What's up, Michael? I might as well just come on. I was just setting up. Whoa, man. Let's see. I know there's a time delay, but I got my other pad I'm going to use today. So, check. There I am. I can play that in the background. Look at that. See? It's like a fucking DJ. It's like a fucking DJ. Hey, I set up my PVHP. Yeah, it's off the wall. I set it up last night. I was going to do a video on it, but I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'll just do it on the live stream. But it sounds good, man. Sounds good. We'll get into it, and I'll let you know everything I had to do to it. So, I know it came on early. I accidentally hit the live stream. Usually I hit the live, and it's got the countdown, and then I have it set ready to go while I do everything. But I accidentally hit it a little early. So how's everyone doing? I filed an FTC lawsuit with a group I'm not going to mention. The Federal Trade Commission is going to go after social media influencers. I filed the complaint. They're going to look into the complaint. I gave them names of everybody. Jace Allen Guitars, the Bald Shredder, the Max Guitar. They're all going to hate me. But I said, here's the problem. Thoman, Harley Benton, is paying these guys to lie, and they're getting ringer guitars. That means their guitars that are being sent to them are set up by a professional guitar tech. Some of the parts are replaced, and these guys will get these guitars, and they lie about what it is, because I got everything. I don't know how many people are going to want to see this, because I'm not a paid influencer. And I don't mind if you're a paid influencer, but if you tell the truth, no one is going to hire you anymore. So they're almost guaranteed to lie. That's how it's set up. They're just set up like that. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Let me read you some of the stuff. Yes, paid influencers and reviewers often receive ringers, hand-picked guitars that have undergone rigorous quality control and professional setups. Manufacturers want their instruments to play perfectly and sound flawless on camera to maximize sales. So it's a bait and switch. Bait and switch. Bait and fucking switch. Bait and switch. And that's some of the things they do. Setups, pro setups, hand-selected guitars, quality controls. They go through them with a fine-tooth comb. And I'll probably go through this again. Why affiliates lie? See, this is the other aspect that no one's going to tell you. Commission-based pay. They get paid to lie. Algorithms. Positive high-energy reviews get more views than negative reviews. Brand partnerships. Influence fear losing future sponsorships if they post negative feedback about another product. Free merchandise. Companies reward creators with free luxury items, trips, perks for favorable coverage. Remember Henning Pauly and the Guitar Geek going on vacation to an island? There you go. Paid for to influence. It's worse than a drug. It's really worse than a drug. Free merchandise, lack of regulation. I'm going to change that. Many creators operate in legal gray areas, ignoring rules that mandate clear sponsorship disclosures. Oh, how to spot a dishonest review. I got all of it. I got it all. It's been proven. Overly positive language. Creators who claim a product is flawless or changed their life overnight. The game changer. That's going to change the industry. Yeah, it's just the business. But when you're scamming people, that's not an honest business. That's the problem. People, as hard as it is today, with hardworking American families, or even somewhere else, when you barely can put groceries on the table, and your kid wants to play guitar, and you look at a Harley Benton, it's $250, and after shipping another $100, it's $350. When you can actually it's a gamble. That guitar is not going to be playable. And here's the other part of that. China is cutting down trees in the United States and other parts of the world, and those trees are being used for garbage guitars. We're the environmentalists. Why don't you just make the product better? Then you can get your license through Fender. But see, Thomann don't want to pay for the license through Fender, because then you know what it does? It outs them as garbage guitars. Harley Benton is shit. It's a piece of garbage. Yep, they're actors. Basically, those social media guys that are telling you, they're actors. They're paid actors. Exactly. That's 100% true. And who are the, hidden disclosures? Look closely for tiny, obscure hashtags. Hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored, hashtag affiliate. Repetitive talking points, disabled comments. Report, it even tells you got to do your part. Report violations. You got to report them. The FTC has actual legal power to enforce truth in advertising laws, but they face major roadblocks. But here's the problem. Why the Better Business Bureau, the BBB, cannot stop them? They have no legal authority. The BBB is a private nonprofit. They have no enforcement. They cannot find, arrest, or legally shut down an influencer. Business focus. Why the Federal Trade Commission does have the power, massive scale. Millions of influencers post daily content, so it's very hard. It's up to everybody to report these atrocities. Yeah, Guitar Geek it's all bullshit. But see, again, I'm sure Paul Reed Smith paid him to do a great interview on him. Because it's great for the company to sell, to make it emotional. It's a fucking scripted. Yeah. The STC don't play around, yeah. So there's a bunch of us, and there's a group that actually reported them as a group. The 76 Gibson, I think the 70s Les Pauls are the best. 73 to probably around 79. 72 to 79 were the best Les Pauls ever made. Yeah, and that's the thing. The CNC machines and everything have caught up to each other. So why doesn't Thomann, who's another privately owned, just like Fender, why don't they actually pay more money to have these guitars made better? Why not just make a superior product and sell it for $1,000? So the people, but then it's not cutting into the budget thing. Why are you going to sell garbage? Like if you went to the hospital, right? Any one of you guys went to the hospital. Do you want the third world country drug that's cheapest? Oh, well, it's not going to affect my insurance rates. Give me the cheapest drug you can find. Don't worry about my health. Just give me the cheapest. Give me the cheapest pizza I can get. Give me the cheapest gas I can get for my car. What is cheap? Cheap is garbage. Cheap is absolute garbage. Well, how come nobody talks about? I was talking to Steven about this, right? Humidity and heat actually affect wood, right? What do you think that guitar does when it lays against your body, or your body's heated up and your hands are hot on those metal strings? How many times you ever bend metal until it snaps and it heats up? You know why when you bend strings they snap? Because you've bent them too many times. And when you bend them, you actually change the molecular structure of metal. How come no one? I've never heard a luthier tell you that. Why? Because they are not good at what they fucking do. It's the truth. If they knew everything from business to the end of why bending strings break, they would tell you. They would tell you how to maintain your guitar and that your hands are hot and have acid. That's why they coat them, because back in the day they weren't coated. But it also changes the sound of the string. Frets are coated now. There's a lot of things that are coated because our bodies are very toxic to wood. They're toxic to metal. The acids in our hands, the heat. How come nobody talks about this? Yeah. There's always a market for garbage. But at least when you're marketing it, be honest. That $200, $300, $500 guitar isn't going to play like a fucking Gibson Les Paul. That Chipson is not even close to a fucking, it's not even close to an Epiphone. That Eddie Van Halen copy guitar, it's not even close to the real one. You want a real representation of the old, go buy the old boogie bodies, the Charvel bodies. Steve Collins? Oh, really? I'll have to check him out. Thank you, sir. Even the boutique builders, they lie about everything. And it's not really so much the boutique builders, it's the people they endorse, like the Andy Woods for Sir. Is Sir any better than Fender? No. They have a. I watched Andy beat it into the ground that the quality control of Fender is garbage, right? Sir guitars, quality control issues. There's a ton of them. If you're making 30 guitars a month as opposed to 3,000, and you have more quality control issues than the mass production company, you need to clean your house up. You should have no fucking quality control issues. Not one. Not one. Let's go back to, let's do the, do I have the Harley Benton in here? Let's see. Let me show you what you get with the Harley Benton. Harley Benton control quality is widely considered a gamble, with consistency varying from significant depending on the price, tier, model, blah, 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 frequently suffering from setup and finish flaws. When you get a Harley Benton, you have to take it to a guitar luthier. How much is a setup? $100? So after you've spent $300, now you gotta go send it to a luthier for another $100, and then he's gonna set it up for you. Even a Guitar Center setup, you might need new strings on there because they don't come with the gauge you play. So now there's another $15, another $30 on restringing it, and then they're gonna have to set it up. And if they find buzzing and they can't fix the neck, now they're gonna have to do a fret dressing, and that's $100 to $400. You understand what I'm saying? It's a business, but it's not a good business. Why? because it's very fraudulent. And the problem is the reason why people lie on these kind of shows because they get away with it. Now let's see if the FTC does something about it. So like I said about all these people bashing Fender, do a class action lawsuit and lump them all in there. And by the way, you're going to see 100 videos come out today by the leeches on the new CEO of Gibson as the other guy steps down. Because that's the way of it is. The way of the world. When did YouTube become a business? So YouTube could actually end it as well. They could just demonetize everybody and tell you you're not allowed to sell on YouTube anymore. That it's not designed as a sales platform. And then they could start another platform that says YouTube sales platform. And then they could have all the shills on another channel. Problem solved. But I actually set this up yesterday because all you guys ask about this. And let me turn the light on so you can get a good look. I forgot my lights off. Because a lot of people want to see this. It's not a root beer. It's more of a, it's like a copper tiger. You can see all the bird's eye in there. So what did I do to this guitar yesterday? Now this is a $3,000 guitar. Can everybody afford it? No. Is it worth $3,000? For me, it is. I have the money. Does it play better than this? Yeah. These are $1,000. You know the old saying, you get what you pay for? That's one of the most truthful things I've ever heard. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. But as a community, we can push back on these people. We really can. A pushback would be, or if more people push back, more people will see it, and maybe YouTube actually does some parameters. Are you an affiliate? Checkbox. Are you getting money from this? Checkbox. Maybe they have to put disclaimers on their channel like a lawyer. It would be nice if that stuff happened. Yeah, and then when the kid gets it, the guitar sounds so bad or plays so bad. Hardworking parent, barely put food on the table, struggling. He buys his kid a Harley Benton. It's so badly set up, poor, doesn't play right. Sometimes the pickups are dead. Why would you allow that to come into the country? And then people want to talk about corporate greed. Well, let's talk about Thomann. That's owned by a family. World's biggest online retailer. And by the way, Amazon's already in trouble with the FTC. Did you guys know that? Morgan's coming out with a lawsuit. It's already out with the TikTokers and stuff. Shit's changing. I'm telling you now. I want to be on the good side. Yeah, I've had the least That's the thing. If you have 30% of the market is Fender, and you have less problems than LSL or Tom Anderson or Nash or Harley Benton, what's that say for the that's why Bud Cole isn't bashing these companies, because he knows better. He knows that these guitars, even the Squires, are made better than the Harley Bentons. It's a fact. You're not going to go and gamble on a Squire that it even fucking plugs in and plays. You know what I'm saying? You go into Guitar Center, you might not like the setup, you might not like the sound of it, you might not like the Squire Strat, you want the Squire Telly, or you want a modern Squire or a modern Mexican, depending on the genre that you play. But that's why they make different levels and different tiers and different kinds of models, like a metal model, a bluesier model, because they offer something for everybody, including price points. Harley Benton is just one price point, garbage. But I've never walked into a Guitar Center. I've had problems with PRSs. I've returned 2 Silver Skies. Have I ever returned a Fender? No. Have I ever returned a Gibson? No. Have I ever played a Fender I didn't like? Absolutely. That's why I don't own all Fender. Absolutely. Absolutely, Gene. The elites, yeah. You can't beat those. The Indonesian models are good. I can show you a $250 Indonesian model right now. Okay, listen to the sound of this. This is a $3,000 limited edition PV. This is a Squire that I don't think has been modified. Let's see where it was made. Indonesia. Just so you guys can see. The Indonesian Squire. $250. There's one on Marketplace Miami for $260. It's the Pine Body Indonesian 50 Vibes. Does it sound as good as the $3,000 PV? I think so. I'm not gonna lie. Now, feel wise, no. Feel wise, it doesn't feel as comfortable. But I mean, the neck feels as good as a Charvel. Yeah. You gotta get don't buy the Chinese one. If you get a 50 Vibes, you gotta get the Indonesian. This one, it's a limited edition. This is the only one with the pine body, which is the closest to a real 50 Strat you'll buy. Not all of them are pine bodies. You have to know what you're looking at. Get the pine body. This thing is heavy as shit. That's why the sound sounds like that. These are single coils. Now, am I against cheaper made guitars? No, as long as it's licensed properly. It's got to have a license and go through real quality control. I'm not telling you that every Fender Squire that you get is going to sound like this, but I know this one with this color with the pine body sounds fucking amazing. I didn't have to set it up because I spent $250 on it used. I wouldn't get an ash body in this, Tom. I wouldn't. I'm not. This is the only Squire that I've ever fell in love with. I'm going to be honest. I'm not paid. I'm not a shill. I'm not even monetized. If I tell you I will put this up against any guitar in the world, I'm telling you that right now. This is one of the best made Squires I've ever seen in my whole life. It's the Indonesian 50 Vibes, and it's this color. It's some kind of white. It looks pinkish to me, but it's called the transparent white. There's one on Marketplace right now in Miami for $260. What's up, Sasquatch? Yeah, so we went through, I'll go through some more of it because there's almost 30 people here. So let's go. So the FTC has gotten I filed an FTC complaint with a group. I'm not going to tell who the group it is because it's a huge group, like major, like a big company. To get things done, you have to have a big company. So I filed a complaint against Thoman and YouTubers. Now they can't really do anything with the product over there, but they can as it comes into the country under fair practice. And what it is I filed an FTC suit against YouTubers who are shilling guitars that are getting ringer guitars. And I'll show this again. Whoops. Ringer guitars. Let me go back to my pictures. Where are my pictures? Give me my pictures. Let's see. Ringer guitars. Let me find it again. So the FTC is the only one that can actually stop them. Paid influencers often receive ringers, hand-picked guitars that have undergone rigorous quality control and professional setups. Manufacturers want their instruments to play perfectly. Why influencer guitars perform better? Hand-selected pro setups. It's all right here. So that Harley Benton is the best, the game changer of the world, the one you've been waiting for. The Jace Allens, the Ball Shredder, the Guitar Maxes. They're all getting hand-picked guitars that you can't get. You bought the Rick Beato SG, but just to take take pictures with the. So they're getting hand-picked guitars. Why affiliates lie? I went into a deep dive, Sasquatch. You can take anything off of this video. You can use it. You want stuff sent to you. Again, just email me, JITTBOY at Yahoo. Commission paid, algorithms, brand partnerships, free merchandise. Here's what they say in free merchandise, like Henning Pauly. Companies reward creators with free luxury items, trips, and perks for favorable coverage. Favorable coverage. Oh, so if you beat it into the ground that Harley Benton is the best in the world for the budget and the money, but yet it's a 50-50 gamble that one of them even works. It's unbelievable. So they're all lying. They're getting hand-picked guitars. Some of them, they even told me that the parts were replaced on them. Like they might take a Duncan and take the name off of it, or they might take real tuners off a Fender and put it on there. It's unbelievable what they're doing to that. Retchel's another shiller. He is. He shills bad. Henning Pauly, Jace Allen guitars, the ball. There's over 300 shillers, and that's why the Better Business Bureau can't do anything about it, because there's thousands upon thousands of shilling videos per day. So what they do is they pay you with a commission, 5 to 10%. So if you sell a $200 guitar, you get $20. So if you sell 100 of them, that's $2,000. But if they do the numbers and the math, that's why they've reached out to social media. Social media has become a shithole of actual money addicts. They're money addicts. They're not even. It's like a drug addict, but with money. You know what I mean? They get a little taste of some money, and it drives them further to do the worst thing that they can. Shilling. Now again, this is a $250 guitar. Why would you buy a Harley Benton for $300 shipped to your house? Even a $120 Harley Benton, and then you got to pay shipping of $100, so you're paying $220 plus taxes. That comes out to the same amount of money in that guitar. Again, you just listened to a $250 Harley Benton. This is a $3,000 guitar. Let's see. Let's go a step further. Because I have guitars. I shouldn't do this like that. This guitar is $16,000. This is a $16,000 Les Paul. $16,000. Can anybody afford these? A Burst Brothers R9? No. Now, does this sound better than the PV? Fuck yeah, it does. But you get what you pay for. You really do. You get what you fucking pay for. This is a $16,000 guitar. Is it worth 16 grand? No, it's a Burst Brothers, which was before the Murphy Labs. This is a $16,000 guitar. It's got a top 10 top on there. I mean, look at the top. I mean, you're not going to get much better than one of these. Again, you get what you pay for. Now, can people afford these? No. It's not an economical choice. This is more of an investment. This has nothing to do with I bought it to play, I bought it for playability, I bought it because it sounds better. I bought it because it's rare. You know what I'm saying? Just like the PV. It's an NOS. It's a limited edition new old stock. There's only 400 of those PVs. I bought it because it's rare. It's a fact. It's a truth. Now, probably the cheapest guitar I have in here. Shipped from, I think it was Alto Music for $160. Shipped to my house. Cheaper than a fucking Harley Benton. Right here. Not a tuner. But $160 Kramer. Way better than a fuck, and it's got a name that goes with this. Why would you buy a Harley Benton? On the affiliates, show them on the affiliates and what they're doing. Yeah, I'll show them. So the affiliates, why they lie, commission based. There you go. Why affiliates lie. Let's see. How to spot dishonest. Positive language. Watch for creators who claim product is flawless. It's a game changer. It's all right here. Here's why they can't be stopped. To the Better Business Bureau. It tells you. But this is who can. The Federal Trade Commission. Here's the affiliates and what they receive. Paid influencers. Read it and weep, social media peddlers. There you go. Yeah, so you can upgrade that Kramer. You can actually go get a pickup, like a Petrucci pickup. Put it in that Kramer. The neck is great. It doesn't buzz. It feels awesome. It's got a top mount Floyd Rose, which is $250. They blew those out. Those guitars were $400. They blew them out for $160 shipped to your house. $157 to be exact. You could put a nice pickup in there, and it'll blow the shit out of any Harley Benton. You got two of those Kramers? A Swedish dude? Which guy? I don't know. Yeah, the algorithm rewards more positive than like my channel. I go after people, so it's not going to push my channel. Why? Because a lot of those influencers do a lot of advertising. So here's the second part of that. When you have a big channel and you're advertising and you're making a lot of money for YouTube, they're not going to go after you. But in the algorithms and what it picks up, like the stuff that I do and the stuff that I say, it's not going to reward me because I'm not beneficial for YouTube. I am a troublemaker for them. But I'm tired of people getting ripped off. We shouldn't be ripped off in the fucking music, you know what I mean? Guitar industry. Yeah, the Squire Classic. Yeah, and the thing with that Squire vibe. What if you did put great pickups in there? Like, what would that do? like, that's crazy. I'm still interested in what Swedish dude you're talking about. Anyone that's shilling low end guitars, here's how you can spot a true, real person that is just giving his opinion on certain things. He's going to go and buy some of the highest guitars that you can get. And he uses his money and he goes all the way down. Uh, Mr. Griffey, who is a black blues guy, he quit YouTube because he said he would buy guitars and then review them and then resell them. But because the market was so bad, he had to quit YouTube because he couldn't get his money back, even as much as the channel grew. So people do things to get around the YouTube algorithms. Paul Davids? Nah, I don't know about him. I don't know much about Paul Davids, but I can tell you he's a good player. Do I agree with how he teaches? No. Because when he had Dweezil Zappa on his show, he was kind of freaked out. And Dweezil Zappa teaches similar to how I teach, which is pattern and position and pentatonics and certain scales. T's guitars? No, I don't. I never heard of them. Ola England. So here's a great question. Ola England. I own Solar guitars. They're made very, very good. They're hard to get right now because of the tariff thing. So a lot of people say, well, you can get them. No, you can't, because if you go on his website and then put in everything and order it, you can't get it. I have a pink Solar, the Cannibalismo. But the problem with these guitars isn't him. What happens is they're hard to get into our country now. But here's the other part of what he does. He doesn't just shill his own company. He goes and he tries and buys other guitars and tells you if they're any good. That's the sign of a true person that's not a grifter. He's actually, it's almost like a conflict of interest. He's buying and playing other guitars besides his own company. So he's not just shilling his guitar all the time. That will tell you something about a person for real. Yeah, I love DiMarzio, man. I'm starting to like DiMarzio's a little bit better than, like, here, let me hang this up. I play it. I'm trying to buy another Ibanez. This guitar I bought for $300. I love this guitar. Looking for picks. I bought this guitar for $300. $300. This has DiMarzio. These are great pickups. It's a great sounding guitar. Yeah, I love DiMarzio pickups. They're really tight. Now, I'm not saying that they're better than Seymour Duncan. I just like the tightness a little bit. Seymour Duncan makes, it's called the Shred. The shred is equal to any DiMarzio because it's a really tight and very articulate pickup. And again, I don't have any deals with anybody but EVH. And it's just a string endorsement that runs out at the end of the year. So I'm even honest about my endorsements. I'm a nobody no more. Now, when I go back out on tour, I'll be approached by many companies again. Yeah, EVH said, when you go out on tour, let us know. We'll renew your endorsement for anything in the company. I said, no. Unless they're now PV, I would consider because then I get these NOSs. Yeah, it's a totally different sound. Tight, yeah, they're tight. The Marzios have a really tight sound. Where the Duncans still sound good, but they're a little more bassy to me, you know. And when they're bassy like that, uh, live, it creates some issues for me. You know what I mean? I can EQ it when I'm recording tracks for, say Celine Dion or whoever the hell it is that isn't like a power pop person that doesn't need like a big punch, so I need something that's more warm, then I can go to like a lower gain. I would probably use the vibes to be honest with you for somebody like that. Get you, get you a case of strings. What's funny is I can't get no more cases. I've already used them. They only, I think we're touring at the beginning of next year. I pushed off. My wife just has cancer and went through an operation, so she got cut. So we were supposed to rehearse 27th, 28th, but now I pushed it back a week. But I mean, as far as all the songs, I'm ready to go. It's a matter of the singer having everything down. Now, I will tell you that I just contacted Chris Jericho, Fozzy, to see if I don't, because if we do, because my singer actually makes a lot of money, but he does it with insurance, and I don't know how much he wants to tour, to be honest with you. So we're gonna do up the coast and then cut across down the coast and then back, and you probably 3 or 4 shows, in certain areas. But I was looking at somebody like Chris Jericho who doesn't really do anything. Maybe he would want to do some of the Ozzy and Dio stuff as well. That would be kind of cool. He ain't the greatest singer in the world, but he's fucking. People would come to see him. It would be interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna. You'd watch the shit out of those. I actually started. So here was one of the things I did the other day. I was in here, and I went. Was I live? I think I did a live. I was going over Neon Lights. So I was talking about, I was in here rehearsing that the other day, and I think I did a live. I go, how many of you guys, I thought to go live and just kind of record and go over my process of, Tony Iommi had an iconic guitar sound, and he had iconic guitar solos that weren't really shred technical solos. Maybe at the time they were, and I said, well, maybe people would be interested in how I think to do the solos in a modern way to make them not boring, because I can't play like Tony Iommi. I, I just, I'm not that kind of player. You know what I mean? With the. I mean, it's a little boring to me. Yeah, I'm gonna try to come through Tennessee in that area as well. So I was like, I wonder if people would be interested in how I come up with my versions of Tony Iommi solos and what the process through my mind. And what was interesting is when you look at this, he's in E minor, but he also plays in D pentatonic instead of D major. He plays in D pentatonic, which you can get away with, which was interesting to me because he's playing like pattern position and he's using certain ideas through the stuff I teach now that he thinks of back then because he's playing power chords. And there's D major as a part of the E minor, but he's playing in D pentatonic. I need to lose a finger. So when I start looking at what he's doing, which is really interesting, he's using D minor, but he's playing the D major notes. So he's going. And if you look at this, D major is here, but he's using this note. But if you come up to E minor and you use some of the G major notes out of the D minor, that D minor note here, that B sharp, which is a C, works because now you're in C major. So that was really interesting in what he does. Priest. Let's see. Hey Scott, that guy lowered that price on that Vibes in Miami. He's down to $260, bro. You probably could get him to ship it for $300. It's the same guitar. He lost yeah. He lost fingers in an accident. But I thought it was interesting on how Iommi was approaching that, because then you look at so the E sharp is F, right? Pentatonically, and it's not in the major part of the E minor. So where does he get the F? There's D, flat 5. Oh, wait a second. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, a flat 7. Well, what naturally is that? That's your D major. Interesting how Oni actually knew this back in the 60s and 70s. That's incredible. So now you look at that D minor actually puts that flat 7 in there automatic. Interesting, right? What a genius of a guitar player. Now, do I like everything he did? No. He had a heavy, heavy sound. He was definitely the godfather of metal for riffs, for sure. But when you start breaking down how he's manipulating notes and scale systems, it's unbelievable. Now, I don't go by, there's no such thing as modes. No such thing as a mode. Because here's the problem. So, a lot of people talk about modes. So, if I play G major and I start on the major. So, if I start on the second degree, which is the dominant second, what did that change as far as sound? Absolutely nothing. Modes are bullshit. It's the same 7 notes on a different starting point. It doesn't change anything. Now, modal playing is a whole different scenario. That's like taking an A chord, playing off the A note in the G major scale, or A major. Now that changed the tonality and the emotion modal playing, not mode. Tritone. Yeah, tritones are very important too. So if I'm doing stuff like, if I go, my landing notes will be on the tone of resolve. 5 to 1s. Yeah, you're 100% right with that. Gambali's the only guy I know that can play modes like that. He'll play 7 different keys over one chord. And then when the chord changes like that, he's on a different whole... He's like an alien on modes. He's a true modal player. And it's unbelievable how he can play. So like if you're playing an A, that's A sharp and A. Now you can hear how the Gambali kind of thing is starting to sound. That's only 3 keys. That's when you start to become a real player, like a technical gifted player. You know what I mean? Now he gets so caught up in the technical side, can he write a hit song? Like... Probably not. It would be too boring for him. He might appreciate it, but I don't know if he would actually like something like that. You know, again. And here's the other problem with the grifting. If you watch a lot of these guys that actually play, they're not real guitar players. Like, they play guitar, but, I mean, probably out of all the grifters, Mac's guitar plays pretty good. Not great, but he plays pretty good. I mean, he's not gonna... He's not gonna be like where other guitar players are gonna go and go, holy fuck. You know, he's not... He's not gonna do that. You want to be a grifter? So, like, I mean, even Rhett Scholl's a grifter to some point. You know what I mean? But what's he actually? Can he play? Yeah, he's a decent guitar player as well. But is he like a phenomenal guitar player? Like, I've never heard anyone come up to me and go, "Hey, man, do you know how to get that Philip McKnight guitar tone? Where do I get that Rhett Scholl signature sound? Where's his signature licks?" That's not going to happen. And you have to put 2 and 2 together and go, well, where's all the grifting from the fucking real players? The Eric Claptons, you know, the Joe Bonamasas. They don't do it. It's not their job to sell guitars. Their job is to be endorsed, to play a product, to put it on a record, and the record of music does the talking. Here lies the issue. Do you see fucking Eric Clapton playing a Harley Benton? No. Do you see Gus G from Ozzy or Zakk Wylde playing a fucking Feasley? No. What does that tell you? Don't fucking buy one. Because these guys that weren't good enough to make it in the music industry can't play like them or write like them. They're no Frank Gambali's. You see Frank Gambali playing a fucking Team guitar. No. What does that tell you? What's up, Mechanic Jams? You know what I'm saying? And then you got the guys like Andy Wood's a good... Probably out of all the shills, like in the major shills, Andy Wood is probably technically one of the better of the guitar players, right? But here he is bashing Fender to tell you how good Sir is. When Sir, if you look up, you can type it in, Sir, quality control issues, but type it in like this, quality control issues of Sir, and it will tell you. I have it. Misalignment between pole pieces, exposed this, metal shavings on pickups. The list goes on. So don't bash somebody that has better quality control than you because you didn't do your homework, but you're just going to use that as an excuse to sell a guitar. That's not right. And Fender, if you look at them in their stance, they might be sending out cease and desist letters, but they're not bashing anybody. They're just telling them to stop making the guitar. Yeah, and Max fingers are okay, but he's not doing anything. You need to email me. Yeah. You got my email, right? Yeah, Max will play the basic fours. And he's not going to play him that fast, I don't think. You know, he probably... Let's see. Maybe that fast. He's not a bad guitar player, Max, but I mean, he's not the greatest. Yeah, meet and greets are a form of grifting too. You know, it's a ripoff. You're going to pay $1,000, $500, or $800 a piece to go get a signature, pose with a picture for 30 seconds, and then you're on your way. Bro, you need to take 5-10 minutes with these people that are paying you direct cash. You know what I mean? And I would never do, like, for me, I would never make anybody pay for a meet and greet. I would tell you, I would have my security go over to the side, he'd have a wand, and he would wand you. And I would say, they can come and talk. You have a 5-10 minute limit, depending on how many people are there. Or I might address the group as a whole. You know what I mean? If there's only 5 or 10 of you, I'll come out and talk to all of you at a show for free. You know, I used to do that at the arenas, outside the door to the tour buses. I would talk to you in front of the tour buses. My chops, no, they're always there. It's just a matter of going over songs. You know, if I'm going, and you're looking at stuff like, all that stuff is already ready. We just have to, it's not for chops. We just have to rehearse. The singer's never played with us, so, but he's really, Joey can adapt to anybody. The thing is, it's not the band as far as rehearsing the songs. It's more for getting songs to segue into other songs where the singer's comfortable. Like, I don't know how like singing Dio song after song isn't easy. Dio had a powerful voice where Ozzy had, let's face it, a shitty voice but unique. So the singer might have to get with Dave, because Dave is from Sabbath. We get Dave with Sabbath to get with Joey, and they work out how many Dio songs do you want to sing in a row for your voice, to save your voice at a show. You know, when I see that, you know, he's got that real raspy power, though. I can't do it. But when you sing like that, you might need a break. So for Joey, I don't know if he has to sing 3 in a row, 2 Ozzies, 3 Dios, 2 Ozzies. I don't, that's what we really rehearse for. And then the segue. So if you're going, kind of stuff there's no really rehearsal for. No, just me. It's just gonna be me on guitar. So if there are other guitar players that I know from city to city, like if we go into the Carolinas, because I know Joe Wentz plays well, I have no problem with him getting up on the stage. I just hand him the guitar, pick a song. It's one of those things. So like I want people on this tour. Patrick is Yngwie Malmsteen's drummer for 16 years. He's played with everybody from Sebastian Bach to Steelheart. Dave Spitz has not only been the bass player for a couple of years with Great White, but he was best friends with Ray Gillen and got him in that band. But he also played with Great White, White Lion, Arcadia. He's like a legend. So, if I have friends that I know through the industry that can play guitar, I would like them to get up and play one or two songs. Why? It's something that will make their life a memorable thing. They will never forget about that. And that's what I want to do. That's what this channel is about. It's about giving you information, helping you guys to be the best there are. Again, your music is a fucking shithole. It's really hard to get into. I've been with Atlantic Records for over 40 years. And how I got with Atlantic Records is they bought Arista, who was my original label. I've also been signed to Scotty Brothers that went out of business. I was writing probably for 50 of the top artists in the world. It became too much for me. So what happened, to explain it to some of you new guys, because you're on a different time schedule than the other people, I started YouTube. I was on YouTube for a year and a half because I wasn't playing. And what happened was I had 200,000 subscribers back then. I had millions of video views. I deleted most of that because my channel went dormant for like 13, 14 years. I only came back maybe 2 years ago because of my son. I thought it would be a great way to be a lead by example, to show him that the truth is the wave of the future. No matter what you do, stand with integrity and honesty. Don't lie your way through life. It will get you fucking nowhere, and somebody that wants to step on you will fucking expose you. It's only a matter of time. And that's what happens. I've had a lot of people come on here and try to expose me, and they all fail. And there's a reason behind that, because I speak the truth. And I hide a lot of information until I want to truth bomb them. And when you have Dave the Beast Spitz in your fucking house, hanging out, drinking with you, like in a friendly, not a scripted conversation, you have to start to think, how is this guy got 3,000 subscribers and he's talking to a fucking legend? They're drinking, they're going to go out to dinner after that. It's not a scripted moment. That's not a Gabe Philip McKnight moment. This is real life. These are my friends. Taj? Yeah. I heard good things about him too. Oh, before I came back? Oh, I took most of those videos down because they weren't relevant to what I wanted to show now. So when I didn't have a kid, obviously back then 20 years ago. He's only 11. So what happened was YouTube wasn't valuable. It wasn't worth money. It wasn't monetized. It was just for fun. And I hid my face because I didn't want people to know who I was. And like Ola England would come on my channel. He wasn't showing his face. And there were a lot of people, like the G66 guys that all do they were all on here. Marco Fanton, all those guys. And then what happened was I got back into the music business. Don't ask me why. The money's really good. And I just started writing music. At first, I was writing everything, and then I was like, no, because stuff was getting shelved, and it was even worse than it was before. So I did NDAs, and that way I was guaranteed my money. Because what a lot of people understand is a record label has the ability to shelve you, even if you're Beyonce. That means you don't get paid. And that record could sit for 3 to 5 years. And sometimes they do that on purpose because of contracts and the payouts. See what I'm saying? I won't get deep into that, but they try to steal the music that way. See what I'm saying? What's up, Blues Master? So there was a whole thing. So I said, no, I just want, like the whole Taylor Swift thing with the guy. I've said it a million times. Scott from DreamWorks. He didn't have no money, but he was looking to start a record label. Do you know how much money it costs to start a record label? And then all of a sudden, here comes Swift's dad, who's a Merrill Lynch CEO, financial advisor with millions upon millions of dollars, and he scouted her. They moved from like Pittsburgh to fucking Tennessee, found her like within 6 months of the move, and then she was signed. What a hack. What a lying shitty story that is. Because that's not true. They were already friends. The investor of Big Machine Records was Taylor Swift's dad. Now she's on Universal Music Group. Yeah, so I come from military. I'm all military. Even in the politics side, my uncle Clay, he wasn't a military guy, but he was like in the politician stuff. But my dad, getting into that stuff as a police major, he came from the military. My uncle's the Marines. My dad was, so they didn't like lying. They were so far from that, because they had to lie enough to get what they wanted for information. Oh, the relatively stolen. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, shit, I forgot about that. That's a great story. Sasquatch, if you're on here, the relativity, the stolen record saga. Holy shit, that's a great story. Yeah, that's a great story. And there are some people that are starting to come out now, like the P. Diddy stuff, and then what's her name? The Minaj girl, talking about how it's a bad influence on everybody and what they're doing with the lyrics, and they're straying people from the truth because the drugs and the women and it's all great. Look at our society today from 20 years ago. We didn't have OnlyFans. Sure, we had strip bars, but those were meant for adults. You went in there. I mean, it is what it is, but there's so much that has changed, and they're pushing everything. And what it is to divide the people, because the problem is, to control people, you have to divide and conquer. It's a testament from the beginning of the Romans. Divide and conquer religions, divide and conquer monopolies, divide and conquer the people. The people have all the power. We're just too stupid to realize if we unite as a fucking people, we control everything. It's kind of like an elephant. An elephant doesn't realize how fucking massive he is. And if their brains weren't that big and they knew what we knew, elephants would rule the world. Think about it. Gorillas would rule the fucking world. Let's say there was a pack of like 50,000 silverback gorillas. How are you going to stop that? You're not. If they had the brains that we had. Yeah, that Daryl Hall and Coach story is a fucking crazy one, too. And there's more into that than they're telling you. Just so you guys know, that Daryl Hall and Oates story is a deep one. It goes way deeper than what you think it does, and some of it is relationshiped, not from them, but from people that they were married to, people they were dating, people sleeping with other people's wives. It goes very, very deep. I won't get into that because they haven't released any of that information. It's kind of like this Michael Jackson thing coming out now with the doctor and all the promoters controlling the doctor, paying him 150 a grand a month, and that Michael was a fucking recluse and he was drinking and he was doing this and they couldn't control him, so they were trying to use this doctor to control him because they were in deep over their heads as promoters, and if Michael walks, they lose fucking $1 billion. It's unbelievable. If you don't think people in the industry, I don't know what to tell you, because that shit does happen. it's a it's a when billions of dollars are on the line, especially with catalogs, millions of dollars, trust me. There's some shady people involved. You have to protect yourself. I tell that to all my friends who come to me and asking advice for their kids getting into music. I'm like, no matter what you do as far as management companies and this and that, get someone from your family to watch these people. Watch your daughter. She don't go nowhere without you as a bodyguard. You have to be there all the time. And you open your mouth and you say, no, we're not doing pictures like that. No way. Think of something else. That's not going to happen. Really? That's crazy. Guitar meets science. I think I watched some of his stuff. Guitar meets science. The Death Claws. That's it, bro. So let me explain what I had to do to the PV. Because I was like, you know what? I really didn't go through this guitar. I just bought it and I played it and it played great. So what I did on this guitar, and I'm going to show you something that I didn't know. And I know a couple of people already left and they're going to miss this. Sounds a little different than it did the other day, right? Push-pull pots. Oh, I had no fucking idea. So, the pickup didn't have a sponge underneath, and the screw was broke. So I had to put a sponge under. I had my kid help me with the Floyd, holding it up while I got the sponge under. I put a new screw in. I adjusted the pickup and adjusted the height on the Floyd. That was the first thing. I also did a neck adjustment. No, I tried to get on Twitter or Twitch or whatever it is. Was it Twitch? I don't know. I had trouble getting on there. I know I should platform to everywhere. It's my only channel. Clive Davis? Man, that's a rabbit hole too. Oh man. It's kind of like TLC, right? Obviously, man, I don't know if I can talk about that stuff because I don't want to get myself in trouble. Let's just put it this way. When you don't appeal to the record labels, I don't care if you're broke and you're not making your money like TLC, you're still worth a lot of money to that label. And when you start saying no, things happen. Let's put it that way. Like LeBron James. Is it an accident? Well, you would have to deep dive into the evidence. That's all I can say. Yeah, Clive was worth tons of money. Tons. So when somebody's worth that kind of money, you have to be careful. That's why I have to be careful with the trolls. I've amassed a lot of money myself. So when I have people come after me, I also have certain friends look at them. So let me put it to you this way. One of my friends sells weapons to Secret Service and the FBI agents. He actually trains them. I have another friend that trains Secret Service and FBI with jiu-jitsu. My cousin's tied to Trump. So I have a lot of people that if something happens to me, they know exactly who to go look for or at. Something happens to my kid, they have 10 people on radar that they've already got listed that they go to. Just so some people know. And it's not because of just like crazy trolls, but because of what you just said. Clive amassed a lot of money. There are a lot of people not associated with the music industry that will do crazy things because they know that there's a money trail. and they'll try to get it at all costs. Multiple sclerosis. Really? I didn't know that, Michael. In 3 hours of fame. Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm glad. See, and the more people we can get in these forums, and the more people we can get the information out about how Thoman is actually taking. It's a family-owned business, which is private. They're putting out a brand like Harley Benton. They're cutting as much cost as they can and putting out a shit guitar. My problem with that is you're cutting down forests. And you're ruining forests for a crappy made instrument that somebody's going to throw away, and you can't fix that wood to be used on a nice guitar. Yeah, Michael Jackson. Yeah, he bought the Beatles rights and publishing, and that there's a big mess. Yeah, Daryl Hall's about 79 now, maybe a little younger, maybe 75. I don't know exactly. Daryl Hall's an amazing vocalist writer. And there's, let me tell you, they will never speak on the phone again. Let's put it that way. That is done. That's been done years ago. But here's what I like about them. Sebastian keeps pushing. Listen, the Skid Row thing is done. It's over. Maybe if you guys got together this year and did one world tour and made millions upon millions of dollars each, that's your best bet. Travel in a different bus. Go to different hotel rooms. Only talk to him on stage if there's an issue. Just play the fucking songs. Everyone make 10 to 20 million a piece and be done with it. If not, read the lyrics. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, basically YouTube, these social media influencers, that's what they are. They're infomercials. They're scammers. The, how are you're scamming the public? You're getting a guitar that plays and been quality control picked over are the best of the best, and then it's sent to a professional that sets it up and changes parts on there, and they send these all out to influencers. I've been saying it with the Pokemon God packs. You're not going to get a Pokemon God pack. The chances are nil. But what happened? You go into a Target, they're all sold out. You can't get a Pokemon pack of anything. It's a way of scamming in a major way. And that's what Thoman's doing. And I don't hear the outcry of a private company ripping off people with Harley Benton. Where it's what it is you hear all the shillers sticking up for Thoman. Yeah, I liked Michael Jackson, some of this stuff. A Tiny Hat Mafia. I do like some of Michael Jackson. I think he was talented. Do I like his lifestyle? Absolutely not. I think they were sisters. How did you know that, Tony? I'm not gonna say the names. How did you find that out? See, now Tony knows something that I don't know a lot of people know about. It wasn't them writing their songs. Yeah, they should change policy and payouts. YouTube has grown into such a big industry. YouTube needs to step in, which is Google and Alphabet Inc. They need to step in and they need to come up with better policies, just like a store. Yeah, middle of the road guitars are like 2 and 3K now. Because you know what's happening? To be honest with you, you know what caused that? Because when you put out shitty products that aren't competing in reality with them. Like, it would be great if Harley Benton was an incredibly built guitar and they weren't dead on, you know what I mean? If it was the quality of this guitar right here for 300 or 400 bucks, that would be huge on an impact, and it would lower the cost. But because they're making such a shitty product, it's raising the cost. Is Fender paying Thoman? I don't know. That's another take. We don't know as people, but we can control it as people because we're the ones buying the products. Like Godin. Godin makes incredible guitars out of Canada. They make some of their woods are phenomenal. Where's all the shills for Godin? Godin guitars. They make great guitars. They're better than LSL. They're better than Sir. They're better than Tom Anderson. Where are all the Godin people? Because they don't push. They're not endorsing some idiot. Think it's about 10%. Yeah, but how? Oh, you were fascinated by songwriting. So you deep dive? Yeah, if you deep dive enough and you keep deep diving, like you see that I keep finding new stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, it gets worse and worse. So I filed an FTC. The Federal Trade Commission's looking into YouTubers now. So we'll see what happens. And you guys can call the Federal Trade Commission as well. There's a 1-800 number. You might wait 3 minutes on the phone and then explain. Listen, if you've been ripped off by Harley Benton, I advise you to call them and say, yeah, I listened to a YouTuber, so and so. I bought this guitar and it was a piece of crap. When all they do is promoted it, it was a great guitar. And then maybe the Federal Trade Commission makes policy to, they send YouTube a letter, right? That's how it works, right, Jerry? FTC will send YouTube a letter, right? And then YouTube is going to have to enforce the policy. That's how it's going to work. The wormhole expanded, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Yeah, Godins are great guitars, man, but they're expensive. They had it was called a Godin Deluxe. Guitar Hero was a small company. That's an interesting story too. There's a company here in Boca. They used to be in Pompano. They're called the Gear Hero. The owner sued Pearl Jam and won. I don't know exactly what it was, but I know he sued Pearl Jam and won. They were the they owned the Pedal Genie, which was one of the biggest pedal things in the world, where you can rent pedals. I played a Godin Deluxe there. It was like a Les Paul. It was like 3 grand. But man, that guitar was friggin' insanely good. Like insane. And that was the first Godin I played. And I was like, why aren't people talking about this company? Siegel acoustic guitars, another one, man. Oh, they make those? I didn't know that, bro. Siegel makes some fucking incredible acoustic guitars. I feel alright, Amir. I'm really tired. The kid keeps me up at night. My wife's keeping me up at night. You know, the feelings thing between the cancer and being cut open. And she was mad I didn't make her dinner. And I wrap her wounds and stuff. Oh, shit. Really? Alex License got a new signature Godin guitar? I'm going to have to check that out for sure. Oh, the Harmony Strat? I just watched the thing on I can't remember, Sears with the Dan Electro. That the Dan Electro was being made out of masonite to cut costs because back then a guitar was 150, so they were trying to get costs. Sometimes you could get them in the sales for 60, $70. That's an incredible story too. Oh, you filed a report? Good for you, Jerry. Yeah, the more people that file reports, the more it'll get looked into. So if you've ever been like lied to from like a social media guy, call the FTC. See, I'm not a jerk. I'm not going to tell you to boycott somebody. I'm going to tell you if you have a legitimate complaint, go file a complaint. You're relieved that nobody cares on a large scale. You'll trade spots for a month. 168, no one visits in the boonies. I had one of those places. I had 100. That's funny you said 160. I had 160 acres in Westport, Tennessee. It was an hour and a half drive to a road to get to a main road. You had to drive through cornfields and cornfields of rock road to get to the property. And to be honest, it was to the back of the Tennessee National State Park, which was 46,000 acres. So here's part of investing out of the music industry that people never hear about. So about 160 acres in Westport, Tennessee. The first thing I was told by locals, call the government and threaten that you're going to grow tobacco. 75 to 125,000 a year not to grow tobacco. So I got to check every year not to grow. So I planted timbers. I would pay a forester $4,000. He would clear the property, he would seed it, and he would broker the deal. Every 7 years was $800,000 to $1.5 million. So there you go. And I parceled 5 acres out to live on. Yeah, the data centers are insane. That's going to stop too. It won't stop though because of the way it is. Yeah, I couldn't believe that this coil taps. Here, let's try it. I don't know if it's any good even. Lots of low end. Let's see. Is it that? Let's do the neck. Is that the one I want? No. It's more of like a gain thing. Like it's not a good coil split. It's like an in and out of phase. I don't think it works well. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Do I think it's really shitty? Pretty much. It's a waste of a coil tap for me. Now the bridge, the neck pickup does sound good. Now I need to set that up. I didn't do the neck. Yeah, right here. A Sustainiac. The Schecter. This one right here. What a cool fucking guitar that is, right? This guitar is a great guitar. Got a tune now. Why did you go out of tune? Well, let's just do the. I gotta tune it up though. It's a cool guitar. Again, I got this for like $650 because it was on a clearance. I bought it brand new for six fifty. I think it cost 670 after taxes. Yeah, the green one's cool. Yeah, I do. I'm gonna have to. I never set that up either, but it doesn't really need a setup. I gotta tune it now. It's a great guitar. You know, they're all great guitars. I wouldn't buy them if they're not. Like even when I did a trade with Joe with this one. Now this has nines, but this is a great guitar as well. Let's get the Goto Floyd. These sound great, but the DiMarzio is just fucking kill. Fernandez is great. See, there's another great brand of a guitar, Fernandez. They make some great guitars, man. I got a couple of the old ones. They're in my warehouse. Yeah, the Sun Valley Schecters. Mark Farner, Neil Schon. Yeah, Neil Schon's a great guitar player too. What a dick, though. He was I shouldn't say that. He was never a jerk to me. He was actually real nice to me. I just the stories you hear now, but Neil Schon was really nice to me. I met him 2 or 3 times and he let me sit down and watch him play once. It was he was in the back warming up for a show and I opened the wrong door because I was lost. And I was with Jason Beeler from Saigon Kick, and we got lost. And there was Neil Schon. We walked in, and we're like 2 kids, and he's just fucking ripping. I mean, he was just having at it. And I was like, and he's like, "Come in, boys." And we sat down. He let us sit down. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" I go, "Well, we're kind of lost." He goes, "I can see that." And he was just shredding. And we're like, "How come you?" That was the first thing we said to him. I looked at Jason, he looked at me, because Jason had, before Saigon Kick, was a band called Toy Soldier. I don't know if he talks about that. But Josh Greenbaum was the drummer. Josh ended up with River Phoenix, and then River Phoenix died. But Josh moved back to Hawaii. Man, and then my buddy that I went to school with, Byron, married Josh's sister. Small world. But we were sitting there, and me and Jason were like looking at each other, and we're like, "How come you don't play like that?" He's like, "Oh, the songs don't allow me to." That was one of the first times I realized you don't overplay. You play to the song. And I think that was a big lesson for Jason too. Because Jason was like a really big shredder. And he can still play. Now Jason Beeler is actually a very underrated guitar player. I can tell you right now, he can smoke me. without even telling you. We were kind of equals. And I don't know about right now, but it got to a point he it that's a funny story too. We were all taking lessons. I must have been 13, 12. Jason went to New York to stay with his grandmother. This is an incredible story. He ended up becoming friends and taking lessons from the guy from TT Quick, Ronnie Latecro or somebody. And that he met Zach Wild before Zach Wild, because that's who Zach Wild was taking lessons from. The same guy from TT Quick. And Jason came back, and he could play fucking everything note for note. Like, all of us that we used to jam, there was another guy, Scott Marino. Eddie Arnowski was in that band called Trial. Eddie's sister, so Eddie is the guy I showed you guys pictures of, that is the quality control guy at Gibson. His sister wrote for Metal Edge, Debbie Arnowski. We're all still friends. It's crazy. I don't talk to Jason much, but Jason was so fucking good when he came back. We all made a pack behind his back to practice, and we would woodshed together. Dude, did you see that? Man, he was doing it. He used to do this thing like. I don't even know what he was doing to this day. I if I see him do it today, I would figure it out. But he was like beyond us. And his parents were really good. And then he started Beeler Brother Records, which was like, I don't know, Chevelle, Skindred, Nonpoint. He was the one that owned all them. So he made more money off that than the Saigon Kick stuff. But it fueled his career into playing with, the guy, bass player from King's X. He's done stuff with them. Jeff Scott Soto. That's how we're all friends with that kind of stuff as well. And then Eric manages Brett Carlisle that sings with Great White, and he knows Dave Beast and stuff. So we're all friends. We don't just talk to each other every day. Jonathan Cain is friends with. So Scott, do you remember I did a video about Karen Laser, one of the booking agents? It's an incredible video. Like, if you're trying to get in the music business, she was on here for an hour talking over the phone. Karen Laser's best friends with Jonathan Cain over near Orlando. They actually go out to dinner all the time. What's up, Cosmic? Oh, thank you, Phil, for the guitars. Too bad they're all right-handed. I'm sorry, dude. Been playing acoustic so long, pretending it's an electric, that when you get your hands on electrics, you better watch out. Oh, shit. I used to play a lot of acoustic. I don't know more. Yeah, Jonathan. So, because Jonathan goes to dinner with Karen, and I'm really good friends with Karen, there's more to that story, too. And that involves Steve Perry. Can I say? And that goes back. Yeah, fuck it. Let me tell the Van Halen story first. I don't know if you guys know this. David Lee Roth, Alex, and Eddie Van Halen had their lawyer come in on Michael Anthony's birthday, backstage at a show at his birthday during a party, and hand Michael Anthony the contract that he had to give up all his rights from Panama Ford. Something very similar happened with Neil Schon and Steve Perry doing the same kind of thing to Jonathan and Steve Smith. I will tell that story. Fuck them. But I still love Journey. You know what I'm saying? It's not my business. I just know a lot of it. But I love Journey. I love Steve Perry. I love as a musician, not as people. Those crazy nights. Greed sucks, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. So here's the problem with, like, see, what you said is exactly right. So what happens is we've been taught that greed and lying, and politicians lie. I don't care what side it's under the Munst Act, and Obama renewed it through a Republican Democrat, so it's not either side. But he approved of it to use propaganda to lie. Now that propaganda was supposed to be for news people, but now politicians are using it. And I've even tried to get Trump to actually overturn it so that he can't lie and no one can lie about anything no more. But they will not do it. So it's beneficial to all sides, including Congress, who lies to the people through media. It's a big fucking marketing tool for them. And that's what it's become. And now it's filtering into our society that it's okay to lie. And this is the problem. Because greed is evil. And they're using things in not a godly or a moral value. Whatever side you want to pick, whether it's morally or a godly, or, that's up to you to decide. But as a human being manner, on a moral integrity manner, we shouldn't be allowing things to be law so that we can trick other countries. I don't care if it's for the benefit or the good of our country. Do it the right way and set an example to all the countries. You know what I mean? And your kid. Smith Munts, yeah. Yeah, yep, you got it, bro. Smith Munts Act. Yep. One Republican, one. Don't ask me how I know all this stuff. Yeah, greed sucks. Shredder 09. Apparently Sharon was the same with the... Yeah, Sharon was. So I was supposed to play guitar for Ozzy. She loved me. But my parents went and signed the release for him to play guitar for him. Now, looking back in hindsight, it's a good thing. Oh, really? That sucks, bro. I hope you beat him, Frank. Yeah, it's not okay to lie. And then it's filtered into society. You know what I mean? All these bands fight over what? Money or sex? It's one or the other. And then they let feelings get in the way. They might end up hooked on drugs, and it changes their feelings view on this, and then they need more money to fuel the habits. It's a fucking cat chasing its tail. It's kind of like the music executives, right? They're making billions this year, and then the next year they made half. Well, how am I supposed to pay for my yachts and the girls and the drugs and the... Listen, we all know what goes on. Yep, propaganda's been legalized. And I mean, it's okay to use that. Come out and just say it, though. We're legalizing lies. Yeah, he needs to destroy that. Oh, Madami? Yeah, I don't like that cat. It's a snake in the grass. He's so two-faced. The green? They're EMGs. The top one's a Sustainiac, the bottom's EMG. So even though it's an EMG, both of them take 9-volt batteries. So there's two 9-volt cavities. See them on the bottom, right there. I even left the stickers on. It's kind of like, even if I said, if it gets to the point where YouTube makes me monetize my channel, I'll put everything on credit cards and I'll give away thousands of dollars a month. I don't give a shit. Life is lifing through. Kind of. Yeah, guitar and music's great for the soul. Takes your mind off all the bullshit. Just listen to tone. Just listening to that, you're like, wow, that's amazing. Think that you could play in a bedroom and get tone in. And then you're like, I'm in my studio in my house, you know. I'm not gonna lie, it's not this fancy fucking studio. If I show you around the clothes and the trash around here, not trash, but like the cables lying around. I got sneakers over there. I got some of my touring gear over there. Half of it's falling out of the cases. I got pedal boards lying down. I got fucking lights. I got racks of lights in here. I got like stage lighting, like big stage lighting. I should put one of them on so you can see. Blind me. Yeah, communism's here supposed to be illegal, but we have them in the government. Yeah, I don't understand that either. You're a Teen Challenge graduate. Hey, listen, man. Best thing you could do is start your own business. Or if you're going to go into something where you're going to make a lot of money, where you can never get fired, like the medical industry, like a tech, like a ultrasound tech. Hospitals use them all the time, or a radiologist. They're always needed, always, especially good ones. And there's some hot nurses in there. You know what I'm saying? And you can make a life career out of it. So while you're doing that, you start a business. I've watched people start businesses where they sell trout that had no experience. They buy property and they put these lakes and they find what to feed them and where to get them, and they start growing them, and they're worth like $1 billion today. Yeah, that's true. The Ozzy Zach Wild thing. You got the left-handed version of this one? Nice. So you shred upside down? Yeah, this is a working studio. I got drinks and stuff, like I'm in here late at night. You know, I even have a cup that if I'm really busy, I'll piss in it. Why? Because I don't. There's a bathroom right next door. If I'm really busy mixing something, I'm mixing and pissing in the cup at the same time. Why? If it's $50,000 a song I'm getting and they need it in 5 minutes, I'm not leaving the room. Do I get upset when asked for financial help? What do you mean? Like my family? If somebody asks me for money, I still want to know what Beeler did. He might have went down too. It's a cool little thing he used to do. You'll have to ask more detailed what you mean by that. Do I get upset when asked for financial help? If people ask me, oh, like the family? No, I don't get. No, because I'll either just tell you yes or no. So it doesn't bother me. Oh, really? He had to throw differently? Do you cry when YouTube then open your heart? Only if it's Rhett Shaw. Hey, bro, can I borrow $1 million? Well, here's the problem with that. It's not that easy. So let me explain it. You there's only two banks that are actually federally insured in the United States. So here's the other part of having a lot of money that a lot of people don't understand. I've put a lot of money in other banks around the world. I have banks with China. I have banks in Saudi. I have banks in England, because you can't. there's no way to financially secure all that money. A lot of it's invested, a lot of it is in other banks, some of it's here, and you can only insure up to a certain thing. I have charities and foundations that are watched by the government. So for me to do certain things like that, it's not that easy just to take money out and hide it or move it, I guess you could say. So it has to be a legitimate thing. Know that. Loan me a dime song. You always give half. Well, if I don't, if like I've had friends that I knew that were guard, like I have friends that I know that are addicts and that asked for money, and I said no. I'm like, bro, you work, you do this, you do that. There's no reason that I should loan you money. Well, yeah, and then you have like Morgan Morgan. You have there's other financial institutions that will actually hide your money for you. I shouldn't say hide, but like investment firms. So it's not really a banking firm, but they do things where they invest your money. It's almost like a savings account, but not really. It's hard to explain that. Yeah, why someone asks you for money, bro? I I'll just tell you, my sisters asked me for money. So me and my sister don't talk now because of money. She lives 10 minutes from me. I haven't talked to her in probably 12 years because she was a cop. I bailed her out of foreclosure 3 or 4 times because she's a gambler and the casinos are over here. I fixed her house. I fixed the septic tank. I put gates up. I've given her hurricane panels. I've given her cars. And she's never been appreciative. She said to me one day, "You should just give me what I'm your sister." I go, "It doesn't work that way. I work too. They didn't just give me fucking money. I had to work for it." Yeah, so I'm not that guy that gives out money easy. Here's the threat: if you don't pay for my content, I won't make as many videos. Pay me and give me free gear. That you sound like Andy Wood. Please pay my internet bill. It doesn't. It costs my time to make these videos. So don't make videos, motherfucker. Go work a job. No one's stopping you from getting a second or third job. You know what I mean? Well, here's the problem with text. Things can be taken either way. You know what I mean? Flat currency? Man, that's a tough one, bro. It's kind of like Bitcoin and some of the stuff going on in the flat currencies. You know, I have I have financial advisors. You know what I mean? I got I got firms that represent me. So again, it's not that easy for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm a CEO of a charity and foundation, so I have to write myself checks. But I can only write so much money out at a time. It gets complicated. Let's get to the important stuff. Why do they kick you out of the music store when you play Stairway? I've never had that happen because most people don't play it that well. I'm gonna say maybe learn it a little bit better. I don't know. Man, that sounds weird. It's crazy people think that way. Andy can go back to selling guitars at the music store. Absolutely. That's what I mean. Instead of shilling for money on your channel, go back to the music store and work. There's a That's a great point. Some people are meant to have money. Some people are. I think for me, everything on this. Listen, look around you. This came from the earth. The pickups, the metal, everything came from our planet. Everything we've created didn't come from somewhere else. It came from here, our planet, the minerals. And it will go back into minerals. If there was like a nuclear war or something, everything goes back to the way it's like a great reset. It goes back, it gets buried hundreds of feet under sediment, and people dig it back up. That's a great. Some people are gifted with nothing. Some people are gifted with everything. Some people have to work really hard to get where they want. Now, I've done videos where I tell you guys the reason what fueled me is growing up in a good family, I didn't have the greatest of times. My dad was really rough on me and my sister. So you didn't get to drink your drink until you ate all the food off your plate. You didn't get to speak until you were addressed. There were harsh consequences and punishments. And when my parents got divorced, I lived without electricity for a year. In a house with a dog in Florida. Do you know what fleas do and how fast they multiply in a house with no AC? As a kid, I was bitten to shit. It was miserable living by candlelight and taking cold showers and eating sandwiches. It wasn't a good time. And no family helped us. Crypto's okay. You just got to know which ones. Just don't invest with Logan Paul. I'm not sure where he's from, but I know he rehearses over here. Gary Moore? No, I love Gary Moore. He's a huge idol. I The biggest influence on me probably is not what people think. I mean, I grew up listening to country music and stuff like that, so I was influenced by people like that. But when I got into guitar, I became friends with Chris Olivia from Savatage. He probably had a huge, one of the biggest influences on me as a person, not just a player, but as a person. Gary Moore was one of those guitar players that came out after Randy Rhoads. There was no other. There was Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, and then Gary Moore. Gary Moore influenced a lot of people, including John Sykes and Vivian Campbell. He's one of the greats. You know, I don't talk about him a lot, but, you know, I know all the Gary Moore stuff. You know, I remember all that. I was a huge Gary Moore fanatic. Thin Lizzy. There's a lot of those guys. No wonder why you get visitors. You moan alone. Brought a guitar a few months, handed it to me, and I went right into the stairway, and people started yelling, "No, no, no." Maybe play the solo. Or the rock part. Play that and you'll be alright. It's fairly awful. What with the dogs? You have a flea phobia? Well, I just fucking ruined it even more, right? You're all you're all the way out. Same shredder. Oh, really? You in a cabin you lived? You fight anger? Don't be angry, man. The best thing to do is to succeed so that people admire you. But do it to be a better person, not for the admiration. You gotta fight and do what you believe in. You a lot of see here's the problem. A lot of people end up getting stuck in jobs they're not happy and that they it's work and it's pay. It's admirable. But I mean, you have to pick and choose your battles. So if you want to be happy and work and survive, but it's not a big paying job, then so be it. But your health is more important than your financial. Like me, I got into music at a young age. I auditioned for GIT at 15. I was there by 16, 17 years old, and I ended up not getting into Ozzy. I was a huge letdown for me when Randy died. But you know what? It turned out to be the best because I ended up in the music industry, because I ended up with a dance band that I hated to do, but because it was in the pop genre, it put me in another category and another level, which I wasn't thinking about. I stumbled onto this and realized, hey, music isn't just about an avenue, it's about multiple avenues that you can use and parlay into other avenues. Just because you think you want to be a rock guy, maybe it's in your best interest to go down this road and not that road. You have to pick the road that you like to travel on and look and smell the roses, kind of say. Oh, you like to arpeggiate the chords right before that? Nice. A shaman? Absolutely. You know, that's the other thing. Acupuncture does wonders. I grew up in the martial arts world coming from a cop who was a black ops in the military who knew how to fight. I learned the mock, I learned Tai Chi. I used to roll with Vincent with the American top team guys because I wasn't doing anything. There's a lot to be said about that, especially frequencies in the earth. He used to call you Smiley. It's my nickname. Yeah, everything comes from the earth, even us. Bones, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I don't care if you believe in the Bible, but that fucking saying right there is one of the most powerful sayings that you can ever fucking read. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Dust. In Mike Tyson, it's dust to dust. But dust to dust. Think about that. Everything on this earth belongs to the earth. All of it, including us. The shapes of things, yeah, that's a great that. Yeah, I love that little. He throws that little. I don't know the chord. He's got that little chug in there on shapes of things. Yeah, that's a great cover. Oh, absolutely, they were fucking cutthroat. We didn't know. That's why I said, you know. So if you like when they say things out of the Bible like we're all created equal, I don't believe that. but I also believe it. How do I think like this? Because we all come from the earth. We're all created from ash and bone, and we all go back into the ground the same way that we were came. No, we weren't born from ash, obviously, but ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So that means if we're created equal, we die equal. So, like, I have a different way of thinking about certain things that I've read. And to me, being created equal means we all die equal. There's no there's no living 3,000 years as a human being. There's everything has a time and a place, and when it's our time, we stop existing. It's just the way that the evolution and planets and the comet hits or whatever hits us. Jonathan Cain's wife, because that's not my place. We won't get into all that. How did you know that, bro? Did you look it up after I said it? Is it online? Did Jonathan come clean about it, or his wife? Yeah, man. Absolutely, Merlin. That's the thing about life, man. I'm not here just to help people with guitar. I've had a rough life and a good life. I've overdosed 5 times, and I lived. I have an 11-year-old. I changed my ways. It's never too late to change. It's never too late to do a career. It's never too late for you to file an FTC against a social media guy. It's never too late to do. You just have to have this. And you have to be determined, perseverance and persistence. And you do what you need to do to get where you need to get. And you do it the right way. And if it doesn't work out, you try again. That's all we can do as people. I mean, playing guitar. I was lucky. I had parents that weren't so keen on it, but they let me stay home and practice. They helped me with what I wanted to do. It's one of those things. I'm not going to lie to you. I spent 6 hours a day playing every day as a kid. That and I suck now compared to what I used to be. But I was in there just like everyone else. And then as you get better, you're like, and then you're adding weird techniques in there. And then you start going in more and more, and then you're adding more parts. Like I never did. I never played that part in there. So you figure out more and more, and you grow and you grow and you grow as a person. Same with your playing, same with your job, same with a relationship. Yeah, you got to just keep going, man. You got to push back. Life pushes on you, you push back. Because you know what? If you win in life, you push back hard enough, you will prevail. And you are going to be the one that did it the hard way. And you'll be respected and looked at as a hero. Yeah, like even me. My dad doesn't like everything I do. He goes against me sometimes. He's like, I don't know why you do what you do. I said, because I can. I like to push back. There's a lot of injustice in this world. There really is. Do you think God wanted us to pay taxes and live the way we did? No. 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 Do you think God meant for YouTube to be around so we can have all the... No. This isn't This isn't living. Living is what we're doing right here, enjoying our conversations as human beings with each other. This is living, talking. No matter what side you believe, we talk to each other. Yeah, man, it's what it's all about. Talking and educating ourselves and learning from others. Scott said some stuff I didn't know. The other guy said stuff I didn't know about, you know, maybe other people to know about Hall & Oates not writing their own songs. There's a lot of stuff that goes in that we've been lied to as a group of people. And this is how we learn. This is how we educate ourselves. It's how we educate our families in the future. And if we can get the future to listen to us, we're doing the right thing. Yeah, that was the same for me. I retired in 97. I couldn't do the industry no more. It was too hard, too dark, too evil. I just had enough. And it was what happened was it was making me change who I was. I was getting into the drugs more and more. I wasn't happy. I was getting into the women because it was an easy thing. I was becoming a not good person. I was good on the outside to people, but what I was doing and my choices morally in life weren't good. And it was affecting other things. And you have to break the cycle. I made a distinctive choice to push back on that and become a better person. That's why I push back on social media and the people that lie, because they don't realize how damaging they are to society as a whole, whether it's shilling a fucking guitar for self gain or lying about how many sessions they did and who they were for. It's bad. It's bad to lie to people. 1997, not 1970, 1997. Did I say 1970? I may have. I got dementia, bro. I'm 60. No, I retired in 1997. If I retired in 1970, you know I'm not a normal human being. You better check to see if I got a warm body temperature or cold. And why I stay in my house so much. Yeah. Oh, I said 97. Yeah, that's all you can do, man. Life's about searching and learning. Because sometimes I ask myself, don't think that you never ask. Might be one of the lizard people. But, I think to myself, sometimes, like, I sit by myself outside. I'll be just, like, looking up into the sky and going, wow, how the beauty and power at the same time. And then I might go, why the fuck were any of us born? What is our purpose as a people? Is it for and then you start to hear some stories about the giants and the Nephilim and stuff that we've been lied about. And you start to think, are we an experiment? You know what I mean? Because what is the purpose of people? Just in general. We can't be just the sole purpose to praise a god. Really? We wouldn't be able to get to this far as an advancement if that was the case. You think about that all the time? Yeah, it's a complex issue. Like, what is our purpose as a human race? Is it to get to the moon? Is it get to other planets? Like, I don't think so, man. It's almost like if you ever watch an ant farm, you have one leader and they all follow and they all do their jobs. Once in a while they fight, but for the most part, they all do the same job. You know what I mean? So it's like, what exactly is it? A test to see if we can all get along and help each other, like an ant farm, and we all work together, and to see how fucked up as a society we can become. You know what I mean? I like it's baffling all the lies, the propaganda, and the bullshit. Like I've been to China. It's not a shithole. There are places just like here. You can go to. I don't know how many people have ever been to like Rodeo Drive in Hollywood. You drive 5 minutes, you're in the fucking hood. You know what I mean? It's not what you think it is. You go to Memphis to Graceland, down the street's a shithole. Nothing against the people. The people are great. But you know what I'm saying? It's not what you think it is. It never is. All right, Michael, you take care, brother. Our purpose is a music? It might be. Like, fuck, if I was the president, I don't know what I would do. First, we'd have a national anthem. Probably be Pantera. No, I don't know. Yeah, so it's like baffling. There's a lot of baffling things that go on. So I don't know. All I know is we can only push together. We push back. We fight life as a team. That's all I got. Some people are more fortunate than others. I've helped a lot of people in my life, and I don't expect anything back for it. There's a lot of things that I've done that I shouldn't have done. I've learned from my mistakes. I try to raise my son better than my dad raised me. That's all I can do. I can just only hope and wish that he has a great life with no suffering. You know what I mean? That's all I want. My biggest accomplishment in life was creating human life. Now it's not for everybody, but for me, the way I look at it, the closest thing that you can be to a god is to create another human being. To any god. Think about that. Two physical human structures as human beings get together and create human life. That's fucking insane. Insane to me. You're creating. You think creating music is a fucking achievement? Look at creating a baby, man, with a heart and a brain, and it's gonna think, maybe even smarter than you when it's older. That's insane. Yeah, he's a puppet. I agree. With feet washing all day long. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think like that. That freaked me out. It really did because I didn't want kids. Didn't want kids at all. Because I was that guy on tour. I didn't want nothing to do with that. And then I had a kid. And when I was laying down, two things happened to me. He was wrapped in a burrito, and it hit me that God allowed me to create life like that. And I was like, holy fuck, it freaked me out. And then when he was older, he was around 2 or 3. He was in the back of my truck, and he said to me, "Daddy, I had a great idea." And he's in a fucking car seat. He's a little guy, and he's barely talking. How about the angels come and they kill you, take you away, and they bring you back so we can grow up best friends? The fuck? What the? I pulled over crying. I'm not a crybaby. Believe me, if you watch my other live streams, I'm the farthest from that. I had to pull over. I started crying. I was like, what? What is that? Ask Elon Musk to talk on Zoom. I've talked to him through some chats before. This guitar has that docking to it. Well, here's how I look at God. And God could be a fairy tale. He could. But I'm going to be on the side of believing. Because either way, I can't lose. You can lose. That's a 50% chance you take. I'll do what God told me and live by His word. And I'm not telling anybody to do this. This is how I look at it. If God doesn't exist and I believe, I still win. But if He does live and it is a real entity through frequencies and some kind of spiritual thing and He is real, you lose and I still win. So Pax Roman, I don't know what to tell you, bro. That's a chance you have to deal with and you take. And I'm not willing to take that chance. I'll put my money on the line by the numbers. Just believe. I don't know if He's real, but I'm going to believe He's real. And I'm going to do everything that I can to try to believe He's real. Only because what do they preach about? Love, helping the neighbor, not coveting the neighbor. What is so wrong with that? Nothing. Then do I know He's a real entity out there? Well, shit. We didn't come from plankton. Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest, that was a lie. Why was it a lie? Because that came from the guy who discovered a dinosaur bone that was given everything by the royal families in the 1860s. So I don't believe any of that. Where are all the dinosaurs that the Indians found? There are none. Where's all the dinosaurs the Mongols found? There are none. So Darwin, relativity, and survival of the fittest is all a lie. Because if we evolved, things like monkeys and such shit would be fucking dissipated. So here's another thing on theory. The Big Bang Theory. We came from an explosion, right? You ever see dynamite explode something? It comes in different fragmented shapes and sizes. Not round planets that spin exactly the same. How is that fucking possible? A mammoth structure the size of Earth, and there's more than one of our structures in the solar system spinning. And then spinning. So what's spinning create? Frequency, bro. Without frequency, you die. Now, is that a godly thing? I don't know. But I can tell you in the Egyptian hieroglyphics, up on the pyramids and shit, there ain't no pictures of dinosaurs. So I don't know, Pax. That's up to you. But I don't want to be on that side of the door going, I'm sorry, man. I didn't believe. Can I still come in? You forgive me? Absolutely. We forgive you. Can I come in? I'm sorry, son. Bye. That's just my take on it. I don't care what anyone believes. That's all up to you. It's a lie, Pax. It's 100% lie, and I can prove it to you right now. Darwin studied in the 1860s. He wasn't around when that shit was going on, bro. Darwin studied from the guy who created the word dinosaur in 1867, a pathologist. Want me to prove it right now? That word didn't even exist until almost 1900. You want to bet some money right now, bro? Yeah, so where did we come from? Plankton? Bacteria? I don't see shit growing out of my garbage. Or the fucking garbage mines. Those big fucking hills with all the garbage and the bacteria. There ain't nothing growing out of there. So where did we come from? You don't fucking know either. I said I don't know where we came from, but it ain't from evolution. So here's the thing. You can get mad all you want, but if there is a God, you ain't going anywhere. If there's a God, maybe I got a chance. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not going to be on the side of the fucking river where I can't cross back over. I'm going to show you guys right now. We're gonna do this right now because there's a lot of ignorant people. Let me see. My wife texts me. Let me see. Where did dinosaur come from? Let me see. When did the word dinosaur get coined? (1842). The word dinosaur, originally called Dinosaura, was coined by 1842 by English anonymous Sir Richard Owen, an Englishman. And in return, he got a lot of shit from the royal family. He got houses for free, monies for free, because he was regarded as royalty. So the more he lied, the better it was from him. It's right there, bro. 1842. Now, who studied from Sir Richard Owen? Who studied from this guy? Several notable figures. Royal children. Charles Darwin. Bishop Samuel Wilberforce. Aspiring Anonymous. Autonomous. Right there, bro. Darwin, who came up with evolution. So he studied from someone in the 1850s, 1860s. You're telling me he knew what the fuck went on at the beginning of time? Shut up, bro. I can tell you I'm the devil. Get the fuck out of here, bro. If you don't believe in good and evil, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what good and evil is, but I know there's bad people and good people. There's people that kill people. There's people that do good things for people. Now, what is that? In the food? Or is that something from a spiritual world? Demonic possession. Leading people astray. Come on, Pax. You got to be smarter than that. I'm not saying that there's a God. I don't know. I never met him. I wish God would come. If there was a God, I pray that he would come down and tell us, oh, I'm real, bro. Believe me, it would be easier. It's something I fight with all the time. But to say that there's not, I don't know. Have you ever saw $1 billion packs? No. So how do you know it exists? Cuz you heard it. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guy that goes either way, but I use logic. There were a lot of stories from a lot of different cultures that weren't linked together about the flood, right? It's in the Bible, but it's also in a lot of different religions. A lot of different religions. So was it a lie? Because these religions weren't connected together with the internet. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta use your logic a little bit more, Pax. He's gone, isn't he? I'm trying to do this in a logical manner. I'm not saying there is a God. I don't know if there's a God. I really don't. I like to believe there's one. And I like to think that he helps better people do better things and helps. Like, there's. Like, if you think that there's evil spirituals and stuff that works on your mind, I guarantee there is. But I think there's good spirits, and good spirits work on the good people and the goodness of their mind. We could go either way mentally. You know what I mean? Frank the Ball Guy. Thanks, bro. Yeah, it's all BS. There was no steel then. Thank God. DNA evolved in a more premortal soup. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't. We're very creative as people. And we've created this whole world that we live in a society. But I also know we've created a lot of lies. But the thing that fascinates me, because obviously I know a lot of different things, from government things to the industry. I have a lot of time on my hands, so I'm not stupid. I've tried to research. So I've went through a lot of religions, Buddhism and stuff. I didn't try them, but I've read a lot about religions. I've read a lot about different cultures and tribes. You know, where, like, when you make a dovetail joint in wood, and you're doing the same wood with the pin, like, halfway around the world, and there was no way for you to get here unless the continents were all together, and that's how they traveled, and then it spread apart. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go that way. But logically, when the time periods start crossing, and we have Egyptian relics in caves in the Grand Canyons that are off limits to us, you start to wonder what real history and things are that we've been lying about. Now, that could God be a lie? It could be. I don't know. I really don't know. But I like to believe in the greater of people. I'm not going to put all my chickens in a basket or eggs in a basket of basing it off of somebody else that don't really know either. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to believe what I want to believe based on my own logic. I don't want to it's like listening to a shiller. These fucking guitar shillers. What do they know? They're being paid to promote that. Teachers are getting paid to promote certain things. I'm not going to listen to someone who's not as smart as me. Let's put it that way. Because you saw this guy Pax is gone now. Why? Because I was making too much sense. To use your logic in a logical manner. And I even say, I don't know if there's a God. I've never seen him. So for you to say there's not a God, you don't know that either. You know what I'm saying? It diminishes logic either way. But in a logical manner, I know that hurting someone is not a good thing. And helping people in a good manner is more of a godly manner than a not godly manner. You know what I'm saying? So you use your logic and what you were born with. And how did we get common sense and to know what's right or wrong? What gives us that in our brain? It's an interesting conversation. Like, again, that's why I love my live streams. We talk about everything, not just music. This is why my live stream is actually. I'm going to show my live stream. I think my live stream is different than anything I've seen out there. I'm in the record industry and I talk about anything because I'm not afraid to. Or some people going to get mad, maybe, oh, I'm this guy. No, I say I'm going to believe in God because why not? What do I got to lose? But if I don't believe in God, what do I got to lose if it's real? I'm playing the Las Vegas odds here. You know what I'm saying? I'm 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 gonna do the odd game. If there is a God and I don't believe, I lose. If there isn't a God and I believe, I win either way. I'm gonna do the odds. Do I go to church all the time? No, no. I believe that you believe what's in your heart and your mind. This is what determines you, right here. Your heart and here. This is all you need in life. This is all you need. Because let's face it, I can show you everything you want to know about this, right? Let's do some more logic. On this guitar, I can show you all the theory in the world. I can show you how to skip strings. I can show you everything. Who's it up to determine if you can get to that point? Only you. Only you can believe what you want to believe. And it's up to you to make it work. I'm not arguing with you. There is no science. Science is changing day to day. You want to talk about science? Let's talk about Fauci, who lied. Okay? Fuck science. It's a lie. Why? Because it's fueled by money, bro. Science gets paid. It's bullshit. Just like the guy that came up with the dinosaur bones. He was paid by the royal families. He got free housing and free money. You don't understand what a shill is. I don't believe anybody who gets paid. What I believe? My logic. If there is a God, you lose, I win. If there isn't a God, you win and I win. Okay? But I win either way. It's the Las Vegas odds. Do the math. How many times are you going to jump out of an airplane with a parachute? Me? 0. I don't give a fuck who tells me it's safe. I'm not an idiot. I don't have wings and I can't fly. And I'm not a fish. I don't breathe underwater. Logic. You can believe whatever the fuck people tell you. I'm going to believe what I know. So you're not arguing. Yeah, we have a lot of respect, bro. I'm not going to call you names. And I say you, and I said it before, Pax, you believe what you want to believe. That's it. What do I believe? I don't really know. Is there a God? I've never seen him. Have I not seen him? No. Because I don't know. What if we were created in his image? And he's walked by us and winked at us. You ever had a guy wink at you, walk by you, and you're like, what's that about? If we're created, can't he assume a body like ours and walk by and wink and go, you're the man? You ever had that happen? I have. Of the evidence we have now? I don't believe dinosaurs existed. I mean, that's Furdog. See, like, Furdog believes there are dinosaurs. I love Furdog. I think he's the coolest fuck person. That's his belief. But from what I read, and there's no hieroglyphics on an Egyptian tomb of dinosaurs, or the Indians never found dinosaurs, I don't believe in it. The Mongols, the over in, the Siberian, there's nothing that ever showed there were deserts or dinosaurs down there. You had the devil tune your guitar. Oh, by the way, I just I didn't know these even existed. Speaking of the devil, Did you guys know that Jackson made a Jack Butler guitar from Crossroads? I never knew they even made one. I just saw one. And that was because Joe Wentz mentioned it. You stopped asking? Yeah, that's the thing. Now here's the good thing what Pac said. And I'll give him credit too. He said, thank God we're respectful to him. Well, he didn't say thank God. So my bad. He said, well, thank you to everybody in here being respectful. Yeah, bro, we're not judgmental. If you don't believe in God, here's the thing. You believe what you want to believe in because you have to answer for yourself. Because if there is a God, that's between you and him. That has nothing to do with me. You understand? If you commit a murder, that's between you and the police. That has nothing to do with me. You have to answer for what you do. There's always a consequence, and that consequence deals with you and whoever that's between. That's why this whole Fender shit, with all these social media people bashing him for personal gain and to get paid to bash him by Thoman, that's on them. I'll choose Fender. Why? They're not bashing anybody. Jack Butler. Yeah. Man landed on the moon. That's another great conversation. Man landed on the moon. I think they did go to the moon. And I think the reason why they destroyed all the shit to get to the moon and said they didn't have all that is because they saw something up there that they didn't want to see. And they were like, fuck that. We're going to destroy all the evidence because we don't want to go back. See, now that's disrespectful, though. Mechanic Jams is a 100% Trump supporter. See, now me, I'm an independent. I vote Trump because I'm not voting Kamala, who was a washed up that got no votes by her own party when she debated. I actually felt bad for my Democratic friends that they had to vote for Kamala. They didn't get a choice. The Democratic Party got robbed of their right to pick and choose. How fucked up is that? I'm not voting for a party that does that to me. No fucking way. That's like someone telling you, you have no choice where you're going to work. You're going to work in this shithole farm because we told you as a party. The fuck you telling me what my right is or who I can vote for? Fuck off. That's why I voted for Trump. Now, have I voted the other way? Of course I did. I voted for Clinton. I thought he was cool as fuck. Now, do I know different? Yeah. I agree with you, Pax. I agree 100% right there. You nailed it on the head. That I agree with you. The Democrats and Republicans are not working for the people. There is no place in time since I was a kid that my parents, my grandparents, or me as a person has benefited from any policy from either side. And I've lived through Democrat presidents and Republican presidents. I'm no richer and no poorer than when I was a fucking kid because of their policy. Now I am because of what I chose to do. See, now if Biden came out wearing that MAGA hat, I would have voted for him. Yeah, because that was cool as fuck. When your own party gets mad at other people in the party, like Biden was pissed. They made him step down. That was wrong. But I think it was also wrong that they didn't come clean because didn't his wife say that he had a stroke on stage with Trump? Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know all of that because I'm not into politics. I just hear what I hear, bits and pieces. But I agree with Pax. There's nothing benefiting us as a people. There's nothing. What has gotten better? Like, they still talk about Social Security, but Trump didn't stop that completely to have Social Security there. I mean, that's why him and Elon Musk were fighting, because he found all that fucking criminal activity and all that money being taken away from Social Security and other people, but they didn't restore it 100%. You know what I mean? So there are things that Trump did that I think are good, but there's things that he's doing that aren't correct. And that one went for Biden as well. He did some stuff that was good, but didn't weren't correct. But I mean, that's how it always is. You're not going to have a president that was 100% bad on policy. There's none that I know of where every single policy he did was a complete disaster. I don't know anybody like that in our history. Yeah, they're like all in on it in politics wise, as far as that kind of stuff. I mean, here's how I was told by my uncle, who is the Ways and Means Committee Senate leader for 26 years. My uncle Clay Shaw was on the Ways and Means Committee for 26 years. Clay Shaw. Let me tell you what he told me when I was a kid. You see that wrestling you watch? It's just like Congress and how we pass laws. I go, what do you mean? Why don't you and my dad work together? We can't. We're controlled by the same people. One guy's good guy, one guy's bad guy. They put on a great show for the people, and then they go behind the scenes and cash their checks from the same entity and go have a beer at the same bar and talk about how great they were to each other. That's what I was told. From that moment on, I just voted by who I liked. Yeah, same shit, different colors. Yeah, I. But once I heard that, and he described a little more. He goes, "You're never gonna have change when the paycheck comes from the same place. You work for the same people." That's what he was getting at. Think about that. You're never going to have change when the money you receive is from the same people. Hmm. That's crazy to me. Think about that. That's powerful. It's kind of like record labels, if you think about it, or Schillers. You're never going to have change if you don't stop the money coming from the same source. It's true. He was a smart man. APAC? Yeah. So here's why I went after top music attorney, because she talks a lot of shit about law and this. She's supposed to be a lawyer. I come from I've got 2 or 3 lawyers on retainer. My family comes from military and government. I know how to get a bill changed. I know how you introduce a bill into Congress through your local congressman. He puts it on the floor. They vote on it. Sometimes he doesn't even bring it to the floor. I know how all that works. So when people start telling me they're going to change things and they don't tell me how they're going to do it, I know if they're lying or not. But it's like all common sense. If I bend this metal string, I'm putting pressure with heat from my hand, with acid. I'm bending the string constantly. I'm taking a string that are fixed with 2 points, and I'm bending it to pitch. Do you know how damaging that is to the molecular structure of a string and affects your tone? Of course they're bought. As soon as they get into Congress, they're offered trips. And I'm not going to get into that because a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. Some may know. Should I say it? Let's say Pax. I'll use you as an example since you brought it up. So you become senator for Texas, and I'm a prominent billionaire, and I invite you over to my ranch. We're out in the middle of nowhere, and I got some young girls in there. And then I put some cameras in the room, and I film you smoking weed, whatever it is, doing something that you shouldn't be, even if it's a minor thing. You don't think that these people go on trips and they're blackmailed into voting in Congress? I know a lot more than a lot of people do. I come from that side. I heard all the stories. That's why I'm not into politics, I'm into music. I don't want no part of that shit. Yep, lobbying is another problem. Stock trading is another problem. Portfolios. And do they stop it? No. You say that. That's not an easy thing not to do. And I said this before the other day. Pax, if I come up to you with a bag and I say, don't look in it so that you don't know what it is. See that gentleman right there, 20 feet away? You go give this to him. You get this other bag. And I open up the bag and it's like $200,000. All you got to do is give him that bag, come back and take your bag. Would you do it? Not knowing what's in the bag I gave to him? Most people, 90% of people, we'll even say 80% would do it. Why? Money. The root of all evil. Money. Why do people lie? I said it again. Why are the guitar shills lying? Money. Why do people lie about history? Money. Why do people lie about certain things? This guy that coined the dinosaur bone, he was given free housing and money to live the rest of his life. It benefited him to lie. You know, whether you believe dinosaurs were real or not, that's up to you. But I know that from the logic of shilling and where it started and how long it's been going on, you know, the lies about the slavery and everybody was slave trading, but who was actually going into, like, as far as the African Americans, you know, we got African Americans moving back to Africa and they're treated like outsiders. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm one of you guys. And they're like, get the fuck out. No, you're not. It's just bad, bro. It's bad all around. Because the Americans here are fed the lie from over there. Oh, these are your people. No, they're not. So, what do people get out of this? They oppress you. And when they oppress you, they control you with money. Because you're so oppressed, you need money, and you're oppressed. This is my problem. This is my problem. This is, instead of clearing your mind and fighting back logically, and with logic, and go and pushing against the system, no matter how hard you try, don't let people oppress you. Because when they oppress you, they use this to control you. See, it's a fucking game. They do it in music, they do it in politics, they do it in the food industry, they do it with liquor, they do it everywhere. They do it in banking. What did they? You'll never be anybody till you have money, because power is money, right? And then you feel like shit when you don't have it. That's a psychological game. That's oppression. Well, I hate to tell you, Fur Dog, Trump comes from a family of politicians. His uncle was in charge of the Nikolai Tesla files, and 20 of those boxes went missing, then went over to Europe. And those 20 boxes that were said weren't pertinent to information, that was from his uncle. So he's got family ties deep into politics. Even though he's not a politician, he has ties into politics. I forget does anyone know his uncle name that was in charge of the files? Trump's uncle. Now, I like Trump as a person. He was always cordial to me. I've met him many times. But let me see. Trump's uncle in charge of Nikolai Tesla's file. Because a lot of people don't know this stuff. He was like CIA or something. Trump's uncle. CIA. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, he was an MIT electrical engineer brought in by the FBI and Office of Alien Property Custodian to evaluate Nikola Tesla's scientific papers and belongings after Tesla's death in 1943. He concluded the documents contained no workable principles or dangerous military secrets, but yet 20 of these boxes went missing that were archived. Dr. John G. Trump, MIT electrical engineer, brought in to work with the FBI. So he wasn't CIA, but he worked with them. And all that information that they said, yeah, all that information went missing. So do I trust him as well, Trump? I trust him more than most, but I don't trust him as far as I can throw any politician. To get into politics is it's a losing battle. You don't control shit. Corporations control stuff. Like who's the Jewish woman? Mary Adelson, the Jewish lady, the supposedly building the ballroom. How much money did she donate to the campaign? I don't want to get all into the politics and stuff, but I know she donated. There's like all kinds of stories behind that. But, do I think we went into Nicaragua to control the oil? Sure we did. There's properties like inventions of patents. And we'll talk about this because it goes in the Fender. There are patents that get suppressed. Do you guys know what that's called? If you have a patent, like let's say you have a car that'll run on water and you don't need oil, they will buy the patent and you as an inventor probably more than likely will end up missing. You know why? Do you know what you would do if you collapse the oil industry? No one will have fucking power. No one. It's kind of like Fender. Look at Fender. 30% of the industry in sales. You collapse Fender, you put out Mexican families that are working, Chinese families that are working, trucking companies, people at Guitar Center, shipping companies, warehouse employees. You put out Charvel, EVH, Squire. You put all. Do you know how global catastrophic that would be? Let's say you take beer. You eliminate beer out of the equation out of society. Do you understand how many bars go belly up and families and trucking delivery guys and insurance companies affected by those bar businesses? Do you know beer would collapse the world? Think about it. That's why I don't like to get into the politics of it, because it's so one sided. It's the corporate way. Has no bearing on what's good or right or wrong. It's the corporate way. Whoever has the most money wins. So if I lobby 1 million and someone comes behind me and lobbies 2, guess what? They made 3. They win all around, but they're going to go with the 2 million. And are they going to give the other guy his 1 million back? No. But that's also why I don't like Red Scholl. He talks about corporate greed, but why isn't he talking about Thomann, owned by one single German company called the Thomans? Isn't that corporate greed? That they're the biggest retailer on. Well, everyone's talking about Bud Colin, Fender, this and that. He's been with Fender for 15, 20 years. Why weren't you talking about him 3 years ago? Oh, because he wasn't good for views back then. You know, give me a fucking break with all that shit. It's a fucking money game. Yeah, nothing matters. I mean, has he has any president actually done anything that he said he was going to do? Some of them do. I mean, the border's more secure and safer. Am I for that? Absolutely. Why? Because I get a 10-year-old. You know what I mean? I It's better than Biden's open border policy. Why? They're not taking millions of my fucking Social Security money or yours. You know, what did New York spend in fucking Social Security money and federal funds to house those people? And it wasn't safe? Fuck that. That's why I wouldn't vote for Biden or Kamala. Was the fucking immigration policy. And I'm sure everybody's agreeing with that. That was my biggest factor, immigration. They don't talk about when they come up through the fields and they're going through Texas and all these farm fields that they're pissing and shitting on our farm food. Do you know what a farmer has to do? They have to destroy the whole crop. That's why food prices are through the fucking roof, because all the immigration that came through and fucked up our fields and got destroyed on top of destroyed on top of destroyed on top of destroyed has made food, because corn is and stuff, wheats and stuff. You can't have people that aren't vetted going through fields coughing on fucking wheat or corn or pissing on tomatoes. That was the worst fucking thing immigration could have done. That's what made your food prices go up. The immigrants. And then we pay them on top of it. Ooh, that fucking irks me. Yeah. Trump is a businessman. I think a businessman needs to run the country. I mean, because if you look at what Biden did for 47 years, wasn't good. Now, did Obama do some good stuff and bad stuff? Yeah, he did both. I voted for him the first time. I didn't vote for him the second time. You know what I mean? I'm not going to bail out the banks. I'm not going to bail out this. And then you bailed them out. Well, fuck you on your second term. You know what I mean? You can believe the hype. I believe the hype. I wasn't as smart as I am now. But, it's one of those things. You do what you do. You believe what you believe. You learn by your mistakes. Do I trust any politician? No. Do I trust Trump over because he's a businessman over other people? Here's the good thing about Trump. He's not the smartest fucking person in the world when it comes to decisions. What he's smart at is hiring some of the best people in the world who are way smarter than him, like an Elon Musk, to actually tell him what he should do. That, I think. So, like, if you have, why do they hire a professor that's really high on paper? You know what I mean? And you're looking at this and you go, why should I go to this college and learn music from this guy? Because on paper, he's the real deal. In that institution is hiring the best in all the fields. That's why you want to go there, like a Berkeley. So you choose Berkeley to go to because they're hiring the real deals. It's not that Berkeley's smart in their curriculum, it's who they hire to teach the curriculum that they benefit from. That's what Trump does. That's why a lot of these shillers, some of them are plants. Rhett Shull's dad is number 3 in line at AT&T. He can't finish his studio because he ran out of money. You think somebody like Rhett Shull has enough money from all his gigs and his YouTube channel to buy a $2 or $3 million house and go on bike rides for 2 weeks for a bike contest? No, he's not doing that on his own. Yeah, I feel sorry for you, man. UK used to be one of my favorite places, man. It really was. It's kind of like, Russia's the bad man. We've all heard that. I've been to Russia. It's fucking beautiful. They don't put up with shit there. Russia is incredibly nice and beautiful. We have American military that are moving there to live. If it's such a fucking hellhole, why are our own military moving there? Because the way of life there is better than here. They don't have to deal with the bullshit that's here. So they move to a country like that. It, that's why a lot of people listen to propaganda and the bullshit instead of actually researching from real people. That's my If I had any advice for anybody here today, anybody, do a lot of research. Do not believe what you hear from just anybody. As you can see, I know a lot of stuff. I knew Trump's uncle was involved. I know certain things in the industry. I'm not a fucking AI or a CIA plant, but I am a part of people in my family that have a lot to do with that. I know a lot of things because I'm in the industry, but I also know a lot of stuff because I study a lot, even with no degree to get. I study and research a lot just because I'm interested in the truth. Yeah, see, I feel bad for Pax, like if you voted for that time with Biden, all your tax money was, and I had no choice. I pay my taxes too. You know, and this is where I'm with Pax, and this is where I'm with Mechanic Jams, and this is where I'm with Lynchy and everybody else on here. When the fuck is it our turn to reap the rewards for our hard work in building this fucking country? You know? When do we get rewarded? How about no fucking property, state, and sales tax for a fucking year while we work? Huh? How about that? How about you fucking pay back what you fucking took from us? You know what I'm saying? When is it time for the fucking people like Pax and Lynchy and Phil and fucking Rees and Fur Dog and Merlins? When is it our time to reap the reward in which we sow? We sow. Trump had a rich dad. Rhett Shull's got a rich dad. I grew up without a fucking electricity and worked my ass off. When is it our time to get something back for what we've done? Either side. When is it the people? I'm going to say it like this. When is it the people side? When is it the people side? Well, here's the problem, mechanic. They didn't get rid of USAID altogether. They said they did, but they didn't. That's where I have a problem with Trump. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do everything he said he was going to do because there was pushback on him. When is it our time? And I'm not saying be a citizen vigilante. I'm saying when is it our fucking time as people? Everybody in this fucking chat has worked their fucking ass off. Everybody here works their ass off. It's time to stop with the bullshit shills that are getting paid by a German company to lie about product. It's time to stop and fucking the government does something for the people. I don't care if it's no federal tax for a fucking year. I don't care if they fucking raise your social security and double it. They need to do something for the fucking people. We're the ones as a collective. The citizens are the one building this country through working hard. The middle class is the ones working and paying taxes. The rich are paying taxes. When is it our time as a collective whole to lump us all together from billionaire to fucking poor, oppressed orphan and do something for everybody that's the same? When is it time? You guys deserve it. I deserve it. My sister deserves it, even though I don't talk to her. My father worked his ass off. He fought for this fucking country. When does he get rewarded? When do we benefit from what we've done here? Because if you practice, you reap what you sow. The more practice, the better you get. You get something out of what you give, right? When do we get something for what we give? I want to know. Can someone answer me? I don't care what side you're on. When is a president, Democrat or Republican, going to help us? I'm not saying that they have bad policy, 100% this side, 100%. When are they going to give back to the people? The border thing's great, but am I any richer or poorer? Are my groceries down? No. When are you going to help us? Dude, I got a $40 million house. You know what my taxes per year are? $1 million. That house taxes when I first got it were $100,000. When do I benefit for making purchases to help my family? I can't even live in that fucking house. I have to rent it. My money isn't coming in like it used to come in. When do I get a fucking break too? Our rewards to live, Phil, to live out our lives in the land of the free, the home of the taxes. You hit it on the head. Almost. Can I hit the harmonic in a flutter? There you go. New technique right there. Harmonic note and a flutter at the same time. Wait. Oh, shit. There you go. How much of Fur Dog? What's your tax break? What is the tax break on Social Security? What are you gonna get? So what are you gonna receive? Yeah, it was. It was wrapped around the pickup. Oh, there you go. I had a good one. Biden save your pension? Ricardo Fasces. Yeah, I don't agree with taxes. There's too many fucking government employees. There's too much bullshit with the taxes. I agree. 100%. Like even school, right? Think about what let's look at this crazy thing. When did the 40-hour work week actually come to be? Does anyone know? Let me see. I don't want anyone to look it up. Please don't look it up and be honest. Does anyone here without looking it up know when the 40-hour work week came to be? Got to answer quick or I know you're looking it up. Came to be during war. And they saw how much money they made off of it, tax-wise. That's the same thing by splitting up the family. When they saw that the wife went to work, they could actually make more in taxes. Because now they're fucking up the family by taking the mother and father out of the home. But what is the damage done? For the government, they make a lot more money. Because now the woman's working too, and she can pay taxes. It was started during the war. Because a lot of people weren't working 40-hour weeks back in the old days. And when the wars started, they needed more people to work. So they would make them work 40 hours a week. And that's how, and it became like, it was like a mandatory thing during the wars. And they saw how beneficial it was. So they made it part of the system. Yeah, nobody should be paying property tax on land that they stole. I 100% believe that. How are you going to charge me taxes on property that you never owned? And that was the big thing with the Indians. So a lot of people don't understand how the Indians lost the land. They said we can't claim the land. We don't own the land. So the Westerners said, "Well, we'll claim it." But what they meant by that was it was God's land. They didn't create the earth. They didn't create the lands. Something else did. So they had no right to claim what they didn't create. Did you guys know that too? I'm like a fucking encyclopedia of nothing. I do. I do read a lot. Think about it, man. If we have 350 million Americans, right? And say 100 of them are kids. There's 250 million Americans working every fucking day. If you only taxed us $1 a day, that's $250 million a day times 5 days a week. That's $1 billion a fucking what? Dude, how are we fucking owe money? You hate politics? Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's good that, you and Pax and stuff, you're not calling each other names. Like a little bit of a disagreement and stuff, but you're not like, fuck you, jackass. Because you guys have respect for each other. So, props to you guys for talking about it. Or I would say something and say, hey, knock it off. But you guys are actually good about talking and stuff. You're grown men. But it's good to talk about because if you don't talk about it, you don't learn. So maybe Pax learned something today. Maybe Mechanic. Maybe I learned something today. Yeah, the Indians had owned this land a long time ago. The Indians didn't even fucking have horses. This land was never stolen. I don't know, bro. Paying taxes on something that nobody's ever owned seems like it was stolen to me. How am I paying for land that nobody ever owned? It's the earth. Yeah, a lot of the Indians were fighting the Indians, and they had the moon people or whatever, moon face people. I forget what they're called. They were here before everybody. But the Westerners who are here now, that took over this land, they have no claim to it. You learned to flutter harmonic? Good for you, bro. Ah. It's kind of cool, right? Oh. Yeah, we all just disagree with how it is. But that's the great thing. See, here's the difference between Pax and you. You both have different views, but you guys, people that come on this, here's what I'm gonna say, and I've said this a million times. The people that come on this channel, for the most part, are fucking smart, intelligent people. Whatever you believe in. And Pax listened to what I had to say, and I read what he had to say. Everybody on here, regardless if you're left or right, are highly intelligent. This is what I love about my channel. We can have these conversations, and no one is pissed off at anybody. Why can't we, as collective people, this is a demonstration to both sides on how people can disagree and still talk with humanity. Oh, you're going to use it at the gig? Yeah, so I'm using my... so how I'm doing this? You know this old trick? So I do my dive box. Let me turn the camera down a little. So you got to find that spot with your... and then have this ready. So I got my thumb on it. It's hard to do. You have to get... yeah, you have to have it right. Now Joe's bar falls down a little. I call it his... right, there you go. So you got to have it preset on your thumb. I got to practice it too. It's cool. Based on your own low tax bracket, I think $2K for the refund. Oh, you mean for a refund? Well, bro, no offense for a dog, but you can't even buy the fucking PV for the 2K. That's not a great fucking discount. I'm talking about something major. Like no tax, no property tax. My property tax on this house is like 13, 15K. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer here. I don't know if doing this on a gig ups your chances of breaking a string or going out of tune. There you go. But it is a cool technique. It is cool. I'm not gonna lie. So there you go. At least you guys learned the flutter harmonic technique. All right. But I appreciate every single one of you guys. I really do. Yeah, they immigrated from Alaska. Yeah. And who knows if the Indians actually came across that little strip through Alaska that's like 50 miles when it freezes over from Russia. Maybe Indians were part of the Mongols. Who knows, man? You bitch about $1,500. Damn, you got it made, bro. Where do you fucking live? Zimbabwe? Dude, I pay. It's $15,000 a year here. My taxes on my Boca house are $1,000,000 a year. It's up to. And I only paid 14 for that. I paid 14 million, but because it's gone up and I can't claim home exemption, it's up to 100 million. That's with insurance and taxes. That's a 35,000 square foot house. South Carolina. Are there any properties for sale? I might fucking move. Turkey? Well, see, that would make sense. Migrating across fucking Russia into Turkey and all, like all that kind of. Maybe some of the Indians came. So here's the other thing too. All the continents were kind of more closer at one point, right? It was one land mass. Are there any women viewers here? Can I identify as one? No. Only when my hair's down. Oh, you could do it here better if you put two fingers. Man, that's fucking weird. You can also do that technique if you put your thumb here. You can actually, and then lower the bar. But I do that same technique I do. Eddie does it awesome. But you can play scales with it. Well, because there's obvious signs of it, where the continents actually fit together really well. The problem is there's no other dinosaurs in other cultures. It's never been listed, and some of those cultures have been around for way longer than we have, or Europeans. Kind of like the Egyptians. They were fucking around a long time ago. And with all the digging, like in Saudi Arabia, with all the digging for oil all over the world, they're now finding dinosaur bones. China has found no dinosaur bones. They got salt mines fucking built out of caves. I mean, there's huge digging excavations. Like they find fucking, like in Turkey, they found civilizations from like fucking 0 BC where they uncover the stone. There's no dinosaur bones, bro. Well, see, that's different. Now, what they're saying about dragons is because they flew, their bones weren't as dense, right? And because they weren't as dense, when they turned to ash, the bones never survived because it just turned to dust, to ash, because they weren't heavy creatures that flew. So they're saying the dragons possibly existed, which makes sense. So I don't know, man. But the problem is they've never pulled a dinosaur out, the exact bones. So if you read about these guys that are digging up the bones, he found a partial jawbone, and the rest of the dino was built off of what they thought it was. They never found a whole dinosaur in the ground, which is odd to me, because usually they said what would happen is if dinosaurs actually were real, they'd be. It's not like groups of mammoths or other dinosaurs just devoured the thing and pulled the bones apart that they would eat, but that would explain to why it was a partial dinosaur, but it would have the head with the jawbone and maybe part of the spine. But they don't have any evidence of a full dinosaur. They're all built off a construction of what they thought it would be. They've never found a whole dinosaur. That's the problem. They find parts of bones. Lake Tarpon. They used to swim there. The Pillowin Lucy thing. British. Yeah, they have a lot of dinosaurs that are in museums, but the problem is they never found a whole structure of one. So they find partial bones and they build them off of these partial bones. Kind of like they've never found a whole caveman, like the whole body with the skull. They've never found a whole entire preserved. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. No, I'm not. Most dinosaurs are found in fragments, but scientists have successfully unearthed and assembled some of the most spectacular near whole skeletons in history. Now, what percentage of a whole skeleton is it? So let's say they recreate what they think that was. What if they're wrong? What if the Tyrannosaurus Rex isn't built that way because it's not a full fucking thing? See what I'm saying? Science changes. We went to the moon. No, we lost the technology. No, we slingshot around the moon. No, I mean, it's like medicine. It's called practicing medicine for a reason because there's no exact science on medicine. Practicing medicine. That's what it's officially called. And it has to be called that because science changes and evolves. Science is not an exact theory. Science is built off of all the facts, off a hypothesis, at the based on all the evidence that they accumulated at that moment. And at that moment, 10 years, 100 years from now, it can change again. That's why I'm saying nobody knows for sure. Fossils and rocks. I wish it's like fossil fuels. You think there were that many dinosaurs to create oil that we're getting from now? That's impossible. You're talking millions upon billions of barrels of oil all over the world. Do you know how many refineries there are in the world? Do you guys have any idea how many oil refineries there are in the whole world? There's thousands of refineries. If you have thousands of refineries, how much oil is being sucked? A billion barrels a day out of the earth? You're telling me that came from fossil fuels? Bullshit. What would the partial bones be connected to then if they're that huge? I don't know. It just says that uh, a Tyrannosaurus rex found in South Dakota about they're saying 90% by bone volume but 73 by element. So what the fuck does that mean? Um, a pterosaur skeleton were found coming around 80%. The Canadian unearthed Alberta, Canada, discovered remarkable intact. It's considered a dinosaur mummy. I don't even know what that is. Those are the only couple. So where are the fucking rest of them? If you only have three, it's 70% intact. Where are all the other fucking bones in full tact? You can't tell me the bones just fucking disappeared at that kind of size and rate. It's impossible. Where are all the bones? They dig up mass graves. Where are all the bones? All right, Pax, you take care, bro. It was nice talking to you, man. And please come back. Pay your taxes. You got it, man. But see, like, you got that's one's in Canada, one's in Melbourne, and one was South Dakota. Where are all the rest of the fucking bones? There are none. So if we were covered with all these species, where are all the fucking bones? If those bones were found in that area, where are the rest of them? There is none. That's three. Again, logic tells me to go by numbers. Numbers. I'm a gambling betting man. Right? Out of all the hundreds of thousands or how many different dinosaurs were there? 100 species? Out of 100 species, 3 are found? Where are all the fucking bones? Bottom of the ocean? Millions of miles down? Did the ants eat them? Did the worms eat them? How did the bones dissolve? If some are preserved, how did some not be preserved? You see what I'm saying? Where are they all at? Where are all the hundreds of thousands of species bones? Because you got to figure, you had Tyrannosaurus Rex, right? There couldn't just be one. There had to be 400 of them. Then there had to be 400 woolly mammoths. You had to have 400. You know what I'm saying? Do the numbers. Where are they all? I'm not saying they didn't discover dinosaur bones, but I'm saying there's no significant evidence of a lot of dinosaurs on Earth or a full structure where they could go, there you go. It's 70, 80%. Well, how do we know that the feet are missing? What were the feet look like? Were they on backwards, forwards? You don't know because it wasn't there. 65 million. Well, here's the problem I have with the 65 million years of planet degradation, degrading the remains. How did those survive? I should think of it. I have a lot of questions. I see that don't make sense to me. Some survive and some don't. I don't believe that either. Because that means if where that dinosaur got preserved, there has to be more around it. Because if they all left an area, because that dinosaur has to have other dinosaurs around it or fought in a pack. They're like Iranians. Oh man. No. Because if you find evidence of one or three, there would be evidence of a lot more. There's no way. Because animals follow in packs. And I know dinosaurs probably followed in packs from what we know as well. They grazed the same fields together. They grazed the same, like goats like to go on sides of mountains. Now, not all goats will go on mountains, but we know that there's mountain goats. There would be some kind of sign of everything pulled together. Like if you go find seashells, there's all kinds of seashells that wash off. There's some way that has to show. They can't even find Nancy Grace. She'll turn up in 65 million years. Maybe they're deeper and not found yet. I don't think so. I don't think so. They've dug stuff up in Miami where shit was like thousands upon thousands of years old. But like again, you would think that I don't know. If cavemen were in caves, right? And that's where they dwelled. How come these caves aren't turning up mass amounts of caveman bodies where they drew? How is a cave preserved through the water with all the with all the writing on it? If that was made from berry juice, like, and we had a flood, wouldn't that wash all that off? Like, stuff doesn't make sense to me. Oh, we got one. That's a really hard technique. I'm not gonna lie. La Bray Tar Pit, what about it? I kind of remember something about that, but I don't remember. Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff. Listen, we're lied to. So again, and Pax has a good analogy of that. If you believe in one thing, how do you not believe in another? Like if you believe that the government lies to you, and we've been taught based on lies, why would dinosaurs be any different? They found a few bones, but where's the hundreds of thousands of species that were with them? Where are all the cavemen? Where are all? You can't tell me that like the caves are preserved with drawings, but there's no you can't find the bones of them. They got to be near the cave somewhere in mass graves, no? And if that's the case with fossil remains, why are we burying people into fucking coffins? Why aren't we just putting the bones back in the ground to create more fossil fuel? It's shit fucking is crazy. Yeah, I think weird. But let me take off because my wife's coming home soon. This was an interesting conversation, for real. Because now you guys got me thinking even more. Seashells found in the Grand Canyon, why up so high? Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. This is the problem. Nobody actually really knows. It's all scientists guess. We trust in science, right? But scientists guess, like a doctor. What's a doctor do? He shakes your hand to see if you have a temperature, and then he does process of elimination. He doesn't know exactly what you got. There's no test that he draws your blood and says, virus number 3, or you know what I mean? It's a route. It's like a car mechanic. A doctor does what a car mechanic does. If your cars aren't starting, they test your battery. And if the battery's dead, they know it's either the alternator or starter. And if that doesn't work, they know it's the master relay switch. It's a process of elimination. That's what doctors do, and that's what scientists do. That's all I can tell you. For anyone to say, I know 100% what happened here 65 million years ago, bullshit. Until you show me on some kind of a fucking a cave camera with cavemen running around beating dinosaurs with sticks, then I'll believe it. I only can believe what I see and hear, but I don't believe in the history of what we have. I don't. I don't. You're going to be right back. Everybody, go in your backyards, dig about 20 feet down, and let me know what you come up with. All right, let me take off, everybody. I enjoy you guys. This was a fun one. It really was. I've This is probably the craziest live stream that I've had in a while. Besides the troll yesterday, you jack off. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace. I'll see you guys Sunday, but at least if you watch the beginning of this, you have all the information on all the shills and what they're doing and what they're lying about. So peace out. Love you guys. It's one for the records. Peace.